So that's why I had the sound up.
No.
What?
Taco John's gave up the Taco Tuesday.
Oh my gosh.
Trademark.
Why? Well, they must have been bought off.
No, they just said it doesn't want to pay the legal fees that come with the fight against Taco Bell.
Good morning, Paul. AJC. Thank you, OK Music. We'll try. Got a good show lined up. 3 guests. Who is it who's been for the last couple of weeks going, how many guests you guys have?
That's Ambien, the young kid from Colorado.
Got 3 guests, Ambient. Of course, it's 4 a.m. where you are, so you're not up yet.
Boy, you're mocking the listeners a little earlier than normal today.
Here we go.
That's just because I know he's not up. About 7:15, I'll be respectful.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. Happy hump day. Let's get over it together, shall we? How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network. FloridaSportsNetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. Top of the morning to you, Mark. You have a collared shirt on. That usually means golf is in your forecast.
No, I may hit some balls today. I got a dentist appointment with the daughter, so my afternoon's pretty much spoken for. So no golf. I just, I don't know. I went with a collar today. It happens every once in a great while.
Well, usually it's golf, or either that or it's time to do laundry, and all the T-shirts are spoken for.
Just, feeling the collar today. You are in a particularly good mood this morning, aren't you? You got a good night's sleep, didn't you? I can tell when I hear the how the heck are you, basically how you feel. And there was some oomph to this morning's how the heck are you.
I did get 6 consecutive hours of sleep, which, let's face it, when you reach a certain age is kind of like a milestone. But also, Mark, my long national nightmare is over. We have been battling for months, electrical issues in the condo. Okay. And now, finally, for the first time in months, we can turn lights on with other lights not going out. We can turn appliances on with TVs not being turned off. My wife can use the hairdryer without knocking me off the air. All right. I believe we have resolved all the issues. Of course, it cost me thousands of dollars. And if the guy who came here the first time had done what he was supposed to do, he would have fixed it right away. But really, I'm good. I'm happy. I'm accentuating the positive. Right.
Just happened to throw in the negative there.
Right. Well, I've been watching the Rays and Marlins lose like crazy since the All-Star break ended. So, yes, there's a little snark to me. Yes, no doubt about it. If the playoffs started today, the Marlins wouldn't be in them.
That is correct.
First time in like 2 months we could say those words. If the playoffs started today, the Marlins are out. A 5-game losing streak can do that. Just like the Rays were cruising right along until right before the All-Star break. What'd they do? They lost 7 in a row. Things can get a little tight after that. That's like getting on the bogey train in golf. You're cruising. You got a 5-shot lead. You make the turn on Sunday, and then all of a sudden you get on that bogey train. It's like, holy mackerel, am I ever going to make a par again? How big's my lead? What do I have to do to get this horse into the barn? Oh, yep. But I'm accentuating the positive. The lights are on and they're staying on.
Well, that's a good thing. Someone might need to turn the lights on in the Rays or Marlins clubhouses to get them awake, because it's getting late early, David.
Well, I'll tell you, things are tightening up in the trap. Good thing the Dodgers are in Baltimore. Take care of the Orioles. At least the Rays will be in first place when they begin that 4-game series against the Orioles tomorrow. Don't know if they'll be tied for the lead, a game up or 2 up, but at least they'll still be in first when the series gets underway. Whew. Tell you what, they've hit 26 homers. Their last 26 homers, 20 of them have been solo. And last night was the epitome of not able to come up with the big hit at the right time. Like Josh Lowe comes up in the 6th against Evaldi. 2 on, 2 out, down 1-0, big spot. What does he do? Grounds out. When they're down 5-1 in the 8th, what does he do? He hits a solo homer. That's fantastic. Needed a single in the 6th. That's what we needed. And I don't know why I'm saying we. I grew up rooting for the Mets, for goodness sakes. But anyway, same with the Marlins. Come on, you held the Cardinals to 2 runs through 9. You couldn't score 3? Snap a losing skid? Come on, guys. It's the Cardinals. They got the 4th worst record in the National League. Really? Couldn't score 3 runs against the Cardinals pitching? Have you seen the Cardinals pitching? Anyway, yeah. So in that sense, I'm well rested, but I've got some snark.
Well, there's no doubt. The snark is that, well, and when you are opening up the checkbook to pay for things that you really shouldn't have had to pay for, I can understand where the snark comes from.
And then at that point, it's kind of like, okay, Rays and Marlins, could you go back to winning? The show was a lot better when you were winning.
It really was. It
We've
really
got a
was.
good-
And now the Rays are just clinging to first place, and the Marlins are no longer a playoff team.
Right. And listen, I can handle not making the playoffs at the expense of the Phillies and the Giants. And even though I'm winning money on the Arizona Diamondbacks, come on now. Come on, you got to beat Arizona, right? That would be a tough pill to swallow. You finish ahead of the Mets, you finish better than the Padres, and you couldn't edge out Arizona for a wild card? Yikes. That's painful.
But there were some runs scored in baseball yesterday.
Oh, man, were there. Historically, runs were scored last night.
David, it is the most teams in double-digit runs since 1884. It is the second most in one day. Only on the 4th of July in 1894 did more teams score double-digit runs in a baseball game.
1894, Mark. It's been a long time since we could go the Grover Cleveland administration on this show.
Hello.
No, not the Grover Cleveland Alexander administration, the Grover Cleveland administration. Hello. So, yes, second most offensive night in baseball history. Really, you could argue the most offensive night. They weren't playing night games in 1884 or 1894. So the most offensive production after the lights were turned on in baseball history last night.
And probably the most runs given up by relief pitchers, given the fact that in 1894, the starters may have gone the distance in those games.
Please, they went the distance seemingly every other day.
Right.
12 teams scored double-digit runs. None of those teams were the Rays, Marlins, or Yankees. Yankees held to 2 hits last night. How's that new hitting coach working out?
The mayor.
Sean Casey, who came in, I don't know how many people paid attention to this. So the Yankees fired their hitting coach over the All-Star break. They'd never done anything like that in 25 years that Cashman's been running the organization. Sean Casey came in saying basically, I'm turning these guys around. Okay. The old guy, what he did was, he wanted everybody to hit the same way. You can't do that. I played over 10 years in the majors. I was over a 300 hitter. Okay, everybody's got their own swing and their style. Don't worry. Okay, veteran team. I was a veteran. Wait, no problem. Okay, right. Yeah, playing the vaunted Rockies and Angels. They're 1-4. They had 2 hits last night, did the Yankees. Not runs, hits. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that's all right. They played a competitive baseball team. The Red Sox were shut out by the Oakland Athletics.
Well, they had won so many in a row,
Yeah. Well,
Cora gave them the day off. The problem was they had a game scheduled. So, listen, a lot of Red Sox fans at the game last night. The A's drew 10,000 on a Tuesday night. That's a lot of Red Sox fans.
Red Sox Nation is alive and well on the West Coast.
The whole AL East lost yesterday. That happens from time to time when a division has a bad night, but that's a pretty good division. They're all above 500. They all got beat. I'll be damned.
Yeah, the last place Yankees would still be leading the AL Central by a game.
Well, when we go to 32 teams, we're probably going to have realignment. Maybe they can get themselves in a new division. I don't know. Somebody might actually get fired in the Bronx this year. I'm just saying. I mean, it's seemingly possible. Got to admit, they're spending about 2/3 of $1 billion for the baseball teams in the New York metropolitan area this year. How's that working out?
Not that well, David. Not that well at all.
You throw the Padres on top of the mix. That's about $900 million being spent on those 3 baseball teams.
Well, Jair Boone, after the game, asked if his team was good last night. He did not like that at all.
Tough.
He said, yes, they are. And they're working through this. But it's it's a really fair question.
Played almost 100 games. You're barely over 500. I think that's a fair question. By the way, if I'm Cashman, I wouldn't wait the 2 weeks to the deadline. I might actually want to get some reinforcements, I don't know, by noon. But that's me. Listen, after last night, that's when you want to sell your hitters, right? You have no idea that these guys are any good, but was it a full moon last night? Can we explain this away somehow, some way? We've had a few hottest days on record here in the last couple of weeks. Do we have an excuse for last night? All I know is that if you had like 7-run leads in the 7th, they weren't safe last night. It was crazy.
But breaking a over 100-year record, basically, with last night's run production in baseball.
I was very excited to go to the Grover Cleveland administration. Very excited.
Did you have to look it up?
I did. I put it this way. He would have been my Jeopardy guess. All right. But I believe he did the Trump thing. I think he's the other president to do the split terms. Okay. I think Trump's trying to pull a Grover Cleveland.
Don't tell him.
Well, he should be encouraged by it. Okay. Anytime the second Grover Cleveland administration's in the news, he should be fired up. Listen, if you're Trump, who do you want in the news? DeSantis or Grover Cleveland?
Cleveland. Close.
There you go. Right. So, yes. I don't want to say it was a crazy night or anything, but you got to go back to the 1800s. I don't know who I was impersonating there. I don't know if that was a bad SportsCenter anchor, if that was Harry Carey doing a SportsCenter anchor. I don't know what that was.
I thought it was a drunk Cronkite, but I wasn't exactly sure.
Or was it just Brokaw? Don't know.
But we've got a terrific show lined up for you today.
We really do.
Kevin Weiss, host of the Lockdown Rays podcast, will join us in the 7 o'clock hour. And then Pat Kirwan and Seth Everett in the 8 o'clock hour. Pat to talk all things NFL and Seth to talk about whatever it is Seth talks about.
When we come back, an old league is new again. Huh?
Boy, did you ever get a good night's rest. Coming out hot with a tease to open the show on Miller and Moulton. I'll be damned, the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. It's a great question, Adam. Did you and the wife do the electric slide after the electricians left yesterday?
I yelled out in excitement after they left. Honestly, it was as if I had won something.
Well, you didn't, because no one did.
Right.
That one's going to be close to $1 billion now, too.
Ten seconds.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? Hope your week is going well. Let's get over this hump together, shall we? Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Kevin Weiss to talk about the Rays in a little more than an hour's time. The starting five is 15 plus minutes away. But listen, we had an effective tease ending the first segment, heading into the second segment, and that's really good for this show. We're good at a lot of things. Teasing what's coming up next is not one of them. And we said that an old league was new again. The Arena Football League is coming back. For some of you, you didn't realize it ever existed or that it went away because you'd stopped paying attention a long time ago. But Mark, in this state, remember, it was a BFD, the I-4 war. The original I-4 war was not UCF in South Florida. It was Tampa and Orlando in Arena Football, baby.
Predators
Storm, right?
and the Storm, right?
Weren't they the Tampa Bay? Were they the Storm?
Tampa Bay Storm and the Orlando Predators?
Hope I didn't get the NASL team confused with an Arena League team.
No, I think they were the Bandits, Tampa Bay Bandits in that
Right.
league.
So,
Or the Rowdies. I'm not sure.
so the Arena Football League is back. It's been gone for 4 years. Well, I mean, it's really been gone for 6, but I guess they completely seized up in paperwork in 2019. But this league was cooking for a while, man. Late 90s into the 2000s. I mean, Jaworski and Bon Jovi owned the team in Philadelphia. I mean, this league was cooking. And then it just died. Boom. And you and I, and particularly me, have never understood how this couldn't work.
Particularly you.
To review, it's football, air conditioning, and beer. How does this not work? Mark's the marketing guy. I'm the fan. between the two of us. Whenever we talk about, sports and business, Mark's the business guy. I'm the Yahoo he's trying to get money from. And I always look at him, go, listen, marketing guy, okay, you sold millions of dollars worth of sponsorship and tickets. How the can this not work? To review, the big three again is football, air conditioning, and beer. And apparently it doesn't work.
We don't like football leagues not named the NFL or our favorite college.
But come on, this is fun. I mean, it's indoors. There's like 4 guys on the field. It's like throwing the Nerf ball in the parking lot, only we're going to do it inside in a hockey rink. Come on. I mean, just everybody have a beer.
You're fired up, aren't you? You're excited this league's coming back. This is another football league that's coming back that's irrelevant, that's going to fizzle off and die quickly. But I'm telling you, it's really unfortunate you didn't win the Mega Millions last night, because they could have hit you up for this league and you would have bought a team. This is a league you could have afforded.
No doubt. No doubt. Apparently, 16 teams they're starting with next year. 2 of them in Florida. How about that? Orlando and Tallahassee. Tallahassee one's interesting, because I don't think Tallahassee ever had an arena team. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how big arena football was. You had the Arena Football League, and Mark, you and I both know well, because we lived in a city that had a what?
AF2 team.
That's right. It's like ESPN and ESPN2. You had arena football, and then you had AF2. And they were drawing thousands. The AF2 team in Southwest Florida was called the Florida Firecats. Worst run professional franchise Mark and I have ever seen. And they were drawing 4,000 people to their games. And it was a disaster. And they were getting 4,000 people at their games. You know why? Football, air conditioning, and beer.
That's pretty much it.
And I would look at Mark and go, if I ever win the lottery, I'm buying this team. All right. And you're going to market it. And Mark would look at me and go, listen, anything so that I don't have to wear a shirt and a tie, anything where I don't have to show up to work before 10 a.m. Okay, fine. Do I have to be there on game nights? And I would go, well, there's 8 home games a year. And Mark would basically look at me and go, I'll give you 4. Okay, fine. Whatever. Just, to put people in the seats. I don't care. The marketing slogan, run with it.
And that would be David's marketing slogan. Football, air conditioning, and beer.
Come on.
Summertime in Florida, it doesn't sound all bad.
I'm only paying for 30 seconds on radio and television. I mean, how much more do I have to get across in 30 seconds?
Wins the game and where's it at? Other than that, I've got football. And to review, Arena Football this Saturday night, 7:30. Remember, football, air conditioning, beer.
Tell me in June, July, and August that doesn't work in Florida. Huh? Come on now. That's it. 8 home games. I don't know. Most expensive ticket. This is where Mark and I would argue. He would look at me and go, would you like to make some money on this? And I'd be like, I don't know. How about we just start breaking even? How about the most expensive seats, $20? And you know me, I'm not charging for parking.
Of course not. Why make money when you can lose it? So the Arena League's back.
Yes, next year, 16 teams, 2 of them in Florida. I will say they're avoiding the Northeast. There's like Philadelphia is the only
they had a good history and did well when they were there.
Right. There's apparently Boise's getting a team. Austin, Texas is getting a team. Chicago's getting a team. Apparently the team in Louisiana is going to go to Lake Charles. That's interesting. Okay. The team in Ohio is going to be in Cincinnati. The team in Colorado is going to be in Denver. The team in California is going to be Bakersfield, because when they made their announcement yesterday, they put out like 6 cities and then they named 10 states. So that's why I have to say the team in so-and-so is going to be such and such. Like they just listed Washington and you're like, is that the district of, or is that, oh no, apparently it's Everett, Washington. Oh, okay. They listed West Texas. Well, that's a pretty wide swath of land. Where are we going? Apparently they're going to Odessa. Ah, okay. All right, fine.
Great Waffle House there.
Don't know what else there is. Apparently now an Arena Football League team. So there you go. Orlando and Tallahassee. I don't know how you build that rivalry. I mean, hey, Florida State UCF fans, before your teams meet on the gridiron, okay?
They're going to meet in the arena.
Yeah. It's the I-475 201 it's the I-475 I-10 war. Hut hike.
Tallahassee, huh?
Yeah, I know. I found that interesting.
Not a very big area to try to draw from. I think they had an Arena 2 team, but I'm not positive.
They did. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I think I would have done Fort Myers before I would have done Tallahassee. I think I certainly would have done Tampa or Jacksonville, but I have no idea.
You want to put a team there and what rent is and all those other things are
exactly
into it.
Right. So there you go. On what used to be the Leon County Civic Center there. I'm sure that's where the team's going to play. Let's go. Let's do this. So Brown Chicken is taking my big three. He says fab. Okay. Arena football. It's fab. Football, air conditioning, and beer. Okay. There you go. Somebody's going to steal this and use this in one of these 16 teams. And we're going to get bupkis.
So what's your favorite football league that's going to fold? The USFL, the XFL, or Arena League football? Text us at 21,000. Which league folds first? It may be our poll question today. Or will Arena Football League ever play a game?
I hate you.
Will they get off the ground?
You were just harpooning my dreams. One spring summer football league at a time. How dare you, sir?
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So, Paul, it's called JEA, the Jacksonville, I think, Electric Association. It's a Southwest Florida equivalence FPL. And there was something wrong with one of their meters. They have 2 boxes that they have to check. I called them first. They came out, checked them both. They said their stuff's fine. Okay. So operating under that assumption, you then call an electrician, and then you have to go through everything else. Well, I had to systematically have the electricians go through everything else at $200 an hour. And we went through everything else, and the electricians finally said, yeah, everything else has either been replaced because the building's 40 years old, or it's fine. So then I called JEA back and said, you might want to bring one of your guys back out. He may have missed something. And fortunately, and I'll give the electricians I hired a lot of credit, for free, they hounded JEA. And when JEA got here yesterday, they were waiting for him. And they said to the JEA guy, let me tell you what we've done over the last 3 weeks. And then looked at the JEA guy like, pretty sure the problem's on you. Go find it. And so they did.
All right, so it's National Hot Dog Day.
Oh, my goodness.
My poll question is, it's National Hot Dog Day. Do you ruin a hot dog by putting ketchup on it?
I'm going to stay silent.
Felipe, you have cover from my mother.
Your mother's nuts. Okay? I'm saying it for the first time ever. She's nuts.
I know. It's a flaw. It's a character
She doesn't
flaw.
know her French fries as well as I thought she did, and now she's, she's messing with hot dogs.
For those that missed it a week or so ago, we did a thing on fries. My mother's not big on Five Guys. McClellan, I'd like to think if you ever lived anywhere, you'd never put ketchup on a hot dog. But by the way, at what point, because we said kids are exempt. Kids putting ketchup, it's just their kids. But Mark, at what age do you look at your daughter and go, yeah, that's no longer an option?
13.
Teens?
Yep.
She's got 3.
She wanted ketchup on a broth the other day, and I just refused to do it. I put mustard and onions on it, and I set it in front of her, and I said, here, eat this. You're not getting ketchup.
That's parenting, folks. Right there.
Kid knows how to play gin now. We really haven't really buckled down on blackjack the way we need to.
Uh-oh. Mom's up. Sometimes she's not fully awake before 7. Let's see here. Of course, I'm going to see my mother tomorrow. My mother's already in a threatening mood.
Can't hit me with a shoe from here.
No, you're fine. I'm in her area code in about 36 hours.
Don't know what to tell you. Very fond of you. But you're wrong here. Wrong.
Are you okay if you put relish on a hot dog? Like, I'm a mustard relish guy.
That's
I'm fine with just mustard, but for the most part, I'm a mustard relish guy.
No, because in a perfect world, it's mustard, pickles, and onions for me.
Okay. I stay away from the onions. Although
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes before the hour, Kevin Weiss, who covers the Rays, will join us 1 hour from now. Pat Kirwan, Seth Everett in our 8 o'clock hour. Hump Day edition of Miller and Moulton. A reminder, we're off Friday. So we're already over the hump, so to speak, here on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Before we get to the starting five, so you're fired up too if you're coming up with poll questions before 7 o'clock.
Well, I always check out the National Day calendar to see if there's something worthy of a poll question from that. And today is National Hot Dog Day. The third Wednesday in July is National Hot Dog Day.
Okay. So a lot of ways we could go here with a hot dog day poll question. Where are you going?
Well, mine was simply, do you ruin your hot dog by putting ketchup on it?
Some would accuse that question of being biased.
It is biased. And that's why I hadn't hit send just yet, because I was trying to figure the proper way to ask that question.
You remember last week, for those of you that are regulars, we let Felipe, we had a fries question.
Right,
And
National French Fry Day.
Right. And we let Felipe put what would be considered a brand of fries that is not mainstream as one of the four choices. It was our way, a tip of the hat to Felipe. Hey, you're part of the show. We appreciate your contributions. Okay, if you want this French fry in the poll question, we'll do it. This poll question is a complete slap in the face to Felipe. This is Miller and Moulton saying, our name is on the show. This is our poll question. Because Felipe is the first part of this poll question. Mark, read it again.
It's National Hot Dog Day. Do you ruin a hot dog by putting ketchup on it?
And obviously, Felipe does. Now, just one clarification. Kids are exempt. Okay? Kids don't know any better. Their natural instinct is to put ketchup on it. They go ketchup first. They learn about mustard later. However, Mark has a line of demarcation. You're no longer a kid when you turn 13. You're a teen.
I'm working my daughter hard to get
She's
ketchup
9,
off
by
her
the
hot
way.
dog life.
Right. She's 9.
Served her a broth the other day with mustard and onions on it. She likes onions, so I wasn't doing something mean to her. But she wanted the ketchup, and I just told her, no, you can't have it. Eat it this way.
Did she eventually eat it?
Yeah, she had the whole thing.
Right. Yeah.
It's the proper way. Sometimes it's tough love, David.
No doubt, Mark. That's called parenting, and I'm all for it. 19 minutes before the hour, time for
The starting five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the starting 5 on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Well, number 1's baseball, and last night was a wild night. How wild was it, you ask? Well, 12 teams scored 10 or more runs. There were 3 games that ended 11-10. And there was one game that ended that was higher scoring than that by both teams. It was the biggest offensive night in Major League Baseball since May of 1894. Not 1994. That was the strike year. 1894. The second Grover Cleveland administration. For example, Arizona with 3 in the 9th. They beat the Braves 16-13. Nice of the Cardinals to drive late and kick that field goal to beat the Falcons. The Mets led 11-4 in the 7th and hung on for dear life to beat the White Sox 11-10. The Giants have won 7 in a row. The Reds have lost 6 in a row. The final 11-10. Earlier, they completed the suspended game. The Giants won that one in 10 innings, 4-2. Hell, the Royals and the Tigers got into the act. Otherwise, nobody would ever talk about them. Kansas City held off Detroit 11-10. The Cubs scored 17 runs. Which, listen, if you're a Bears fan, you'd take 17 right now, wouldn't you? 17-3, Cubs over the Nats. The Twins scored 10 runs. They beat the Mariners 10-3. The Guardians, who sometimes go a week without scoring 10 runs, scored 10 runs in Pittsburgh, beat the Pirates 10-1. And good news for the Rays, the Dodgers scored 10 runs. They beat the Orioles 10-3. Rays needed that because, well, They lost at Texas 5-3. It's the Rangers' 5th win in a row. A couple of late homers by Rosarena and Josh Lowe, but a little too late. It was already 5-1. And the Cardinals got a 3-run homer from Nolan Arenado in the 10th to hand the Marlins their 5th loss in a row since the All-Star break. 5-2 the final. If the playoffs started today, the Marlins wouldn't be in them. You heard me right. The Marlins would be out. They're in 3rd place now in the East. Phils have passed them. Arizona's a half a game ahead of them in the standings. Phillies, they are cruising, man. They're the 6th seed right now, 4-3 over Milwaukee. Brewers, however, picked up a half a game on the slumping Reds. Their lead's 2.5.
You lose and pick up a half a game. That's what's going on with the Reds. They managed to lose a double dip yesterday. Unbelievable.
So Ohtani leads the majors in homers with 35. You know what he also leads the majors in?
Triples.
He hit his 7th triple last night. He's a number 1 or 2 starter, and he's leading the league in homers and triples. Every day his price goes up, doesn't it?
Really does.
Feel free to text us the day we tell you something about Ohtani in which you go, I think his price just went down. Although he's not pitching right now because of a blister. We'll see when's the next time he
and a
steps
cracked
on the
nail.
mound.
I mean, he has had some finger problems here that's holding off his starts.
Right. So the Yankees were held to 2 hits because, $250 million just it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be able to hit the baseball. 5-1 Angels over the Yankees. San Diego 9-1 over Toronto, and Oakland 3-0 over Boston, snapping the A's 8-game losing streak. So let me get this straight. The Rays lost, the Orioles lost, the Yankees, the Blue Jays, and the Red Sox lost. So the whole AL East is above 500, and they all lost last night. That's the kind of night it was in baseball. Did we mention the Grover Cleveland administration? By the way, 2 other baseball notes. A, Major League Baseball took over the Arizona broadcast yesterday. So how about that? The first game that MLB was paying for and producing for Arizona was 16-13 against the Braves. Hello. And speaking of the Braves, they have officially been spun off from this Liberty Media company. Now, I will say there was lots of fears when Liberty Media bought the Braves that, they were going to belt tighten and the Braves weren't going to spend money anymore. Well, obviously that was wrong. And the Braves have come out and said, listen, we're not being sold. The company's just, divesting itself of certain things. We're now going to be Atlanta Braves Holdings, Inc. And Mark, they're pulling a Packers. They're selling stock. You want to own part of the Braves? They say you can buy stock for less than the price of a ticket. I don't know. You're a big fan. I don't know. Do you want the certificate on the wall in the office or at home? I just, drop. I mean, for the amount of money we're dropping on Powerball and Mega Millions there, I mean, do you drop $50 and buy something? I own a piece of the Braves.
100 shares of the Braves.
Now I can, yell louder when I call into the local talk show. So anyway, that's a couple of side notes there. Major League Baseball. NFL, remember, what's the only thing that counts?
Injuries, folks.
Giants lost linebacker Gerard Davis to a knee injury. He's out for the year. College football news, San Diego State and the Mountain West, they hugged it out. They didn't kiss and make up, but they bro-hugged yesterday.
They stayed together for the kids, David.
They did, Mark. But the Mountain West said to San Diego State, you're going to pay our legal fees. I mean, that's the wife letting the husband back in the house, but you're going to sleep in the spare bedroom. Just so you know, to start. Arena Football League is back. They're coming back next year. 16 franchises were announced yesterday. They say more to come. Slow down.
They always do, David.
I know. Slow down. Take it easy. X-nay on the more to come,
Get through a year.
Yeah, get through a couple, actually. Get 3,000 to 5,000 at all of your games. How about that? 2 of the 16 franchises are going to be in Florida. However, they're going to be in Orlando and Tallahassee. Open Championship gets underway tomorrow. Did you see the big discussion yesterday with Morikawa? See, he won this thing in 01.
Right.
And so they're interviewing him. And during the interview, he calls it the British Open. And you can hear the grumbling in amongst the press.
Oh, boy.
And he says, well, listen, I'm American. We call it the British Open. And besides, okay, if you've won this tournament, I think you can call it whatever you want. And in fact, in 2021, I called it the British Open and I played really well and I won. Last year, I kept calling it the Open Championship, but I missed the cut. So I think I'm going to go back to calling it the British Open.
Good for him. Good for him.
So I don't think he was making
Man,
plans.
that is very Moulton of him.
But when he
When
said,
did you start becoming his spotter?
when he said, hey, listen, if you win this tournament, I think you can call it whatever you want. Make a dadgum good point, sir. Make a dadgum good point. Pairings were announced in Tea Times yesterday. The LIV guys largely buried. I mean, they really are. And the one guy who wasn't buried, man, is the RNA of a sense of humor. Who's the fastest player on tour?
Probably Koepka.
Well, granted, it's the LIV tour, but yes.
But probably Koepka.
Right. Who's the slowest player on any
Patrick
tour?
Cantlay.
Guess who's playing together?
Brooks and Patrick Cantlay.
And if Cantlay is not the slowest, Matsuyama's a medalist. It's Cantlay and Matsuyama and Koepka at 4:30 in the morning tomorrow on Peacock. Cam Smith is playing with Schauffele and Wyndham Clark. So he got kind of a pairing. He is the defending champion after all. Scheffler, Fleetwood, and Adam Scott are paired together 4:47 tomorrow morning. They're teeing off. This is our time, Eastern time, 4:47 a.m. So Koepka, Cantlay, Matsuyama, Scheffler, Fleetwood, Adam Scott, Cam Smith, they're all getting very early morning before we even go on the air tea times tomorrow, all between 4:30 and 5 a.m. The later groupings who tee off between like 9:45 and a little after 10 o'clock, you got Hovland, Finau, and JT at 9:48 Eastern. 10 o'clock, Rory, Rahm, and Justin Rose, which, by the way, means they'll play at 5 a.m. Friday, Mark. I know we won't be doing a show, but I know how much you love the Open Championship.
Don't worry, I'll be up.
I know you will. 5 a.m. round 2, Rory, Rahm, and Justin Rose tomorrow, or Friday, excuse me. 10:10 a.m. tomorrow, Morikawa, Homa, and Tyrrell Hatton. Phil's playing with like two guys you've never heard of before. One guy named Schenk. I mean, 6 major championships, including an Open Championship. I mean, why would he get a good pairing or anything? And that's pretty much it, guys. At 8 minutes before the hour, that was
the Starting Five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
And Felipe and I were both monitoring it on Twitter yesterday. Messi, with a light workout with the team, he's apparently ready to go. His debut's Friday.
Did you see what the most expensive ticket is listed for on Vivid Seat, StubHub, and the like? Just shy of the most expensive ticket, a front row seat. I think you can get in for $260. That's the cheapest ticket.
Okay.
The most expensive seat is just under $60,000.
Wow. Fort Lauderdale, right?
Yes.
25,000 seats.
Right.
Soccer
Dry
stadium.
Tank Arena. Isn't that right, Felipe?
Yeah,
Or
Dry
stadium?
Stadium. Stadium.
A stadium. Okay.
And it's DRV. It's Druv.
I'm sorry, what?
It's Druv.
Droof.
Druvpunk. And it's PNK, I believe.
Where are we going? We're going to Droof Punk. If you say that to the cops, they pull you over for DUI, I think. Where were you going? Well, we went to Droof Punk. All right, step out of the car.
So, Drive Pink Stadium. Important
Okay.
to get that right.
Friday.
Miller and Moulton. Messy. Friday night. We're all driving pink together, everybody.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Bless you.
Thank you. For the record, just so you got it right, thank you, Spitz. Peacock's only 1:30 to 4 a.m. Anything after 4 a.m. is on USA.
Right. Oh, did I? And I said they're teed off on Peacock. My bad.
That's all right.
Yeah, because they're after 4 a.m.
Right. That's all. I'm just
Appreciate that. Remember, though, final hour. Okay, Phil wrapping things up. Okay, 3 to 4. Back on Peacock.
I got to figure out if my mom has the proper cable package with the Bally's Sports, because my one worry when I cut the cord is that Bally's is not on YouTube TV. So I don't know how I watch Rays, Lightning, etc. No, yes, Ambien, it is. Yeah, but I'm going YouTube TV for the football. Now, theoretically, I could just dump YouTube TV and go to a Hulu or something like that because Hulu has it. I must say the first Sunday of football season is going to be interesting for all the people with YouTube TV for the first time. So Paul, Sling has the Bally's, or does Sling just have like the NHL network?
30 seconds. Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this hump day. We're getting over it together here on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Kevin Weiss covers the Rays. A lot to talk about with them. We know they'll be in first place when their 4-game series against the Orioles starts tomorrow at the Trop. But will they be tied for the lead, 1 up or 2 up? They're struggling. 1 up on the Orioles currently. Talk to Kevin in a little more than 30 minutes time. Pat Kirwan, Seth Everett next hour. We've got ourselves a poll question already. That's how fired up we are to work today.
It was an easy one. It's National Hot Dog Day. So do you ruin a hot dog by putting ketchup on it?
Yes, that's right. It's phrased exactly the way it is. Miller and Moulton, a united front on this subject. Felipe, forced out, boxed out. Thought he could, relate to that basketball phrase and all. We boxed him out. He ain't getting that rebound. No chance.
Yeah, I don't seem to think Felipe is the type of guy that worries about rebounds when he plays basketball.
Well, but if he was wandering near the lane, we made sure to let him know, not this time.
Put a hip into him. Just
had the elbow already out. Kind of like, you want to get that close? No, I'm good right out here. I'll hang out. In fact, I'll drift over to the 3-point line. Come to think of it, guys, if you want to kick it out to somebody.
All I know is that Shaq has a better opportunity making this free throw than I will eating a hot dog with mustard.
Wow. Them's fighting words right there. So that's our poll question. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton on Twitter.
So wait a minute. Are you that much of a child that you only put ketchup on a hot dog?
Mustard is gross.
Ooh.
Mustard is disgusting.
You're Cuban. The Cuban sandwich is a mustard sandwich.
I hate mustard and I hate pickles. Call me sacrilegious. I don't care.
Wow.
How
do they let you back in the 305 saying things like that?
Because I eat croquetas instead. I eat ham.
I understand that. I'm just, all right.
Well, you emphasize what, you can emphasize. I don't get me wrong. I mean, the grandparents talk about him once he leaves the house. But, they still love him. Just not as much as the other grandchild.
Is this a family thing or is this just you? Does the rest of the family have respect for mustard like they should?
It might just be me, honestly. I think there's a couple other people, but
you can hang out with Moulton's mother.
Yeah, she's got your back on this one, Felipe. She's already sending me threatening texts. I'm our only child, too.
That's fantastic.
You haven't been on the other end of them. So that's our poll question. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, floridasportsnetwork.com. Please vote. We always love to hear from you. You can text into the show at 21,000. That's if you have used the keyword once. FSN radio is the keyword. All one word, FSN radio. If you've done that, you just text 21,000. Let us know what's on your mind. You could always take in the show twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton. And you can chime in there, which many people do. That is for sure.
Old
Magic-
Tiger Stadium, David.
I'm sorry, what?
At Old Tiger Stadium, the vendors who walked, hot dog here. You had your hot dog, you had your buns, and then they had simply a beer cup or a soda cup full of mustard with a popsicle stick. You didn't have a choice. They didn't give you ketchup. Your choices were plain or mustard.
I like it. I like it. John in our Twitch chat room says he puts hot dogs on his ketchup. Wow. Hey, are you allowed? You married into a Pittsburgh family, and we know how they feel about the whole Heinz ketchup thing.
Right, it's the only kind you're allowed to use.
So I'm just curious whether or not this hot dog stance of yours is. Do you pontificate like this when you're with your fellow Yinzers there?
I've never had hot dogs with my in-laws. My wife, I believe, ruins hot dogs. I'm quite sure that she does. I just kind of turn the other way and ignore it.
Right.
But she does put mustard on it. I still think she puts that ugly red stuff on it too. It's
Wow, she does both. Wow, that's man. I got the chills, and not in a good way. Thinking about that, my goodness.
But she's just mustard on brats. So it's been a while since I've seen her have the hot dog. So I don't know. Well, I'm investigating, David.
You do that, Mark. You do that. Magic numbers 38, 43, and 50. 38, 43, and 50. I mean, we're 5.5 weeks away from week 0. Notre Dame's in Ireland playing Navy. USC's in action. They both could be in the top 10. They'll both be in the top 15 for sure. 6 weeks tomorrow, by the way, Gators in Utah. UCF, as a member of the Big 12, playing for the first time. I believe they're hosting Kent State. And it's 7 weeks tomorrow, 50 days away. Lions and Chiefs at Arrowhead. Hey, the Jets are getting things going today. And they got everybody showing up at the same time, too. Rookies and veterans. It's just get your butts in here. So, which is nice for the HBO cameras. They got the, Aaron Rodgers there with the 30 guys that are going to get cut. So, did you hear what the Jets yesterday? Very, very Colin Morikawa of them. Him at the Open Championship, if you weren't with us last hour, in which he said, yeah, I call it the British Open. A, I'm American, and B, I won the tournament. I can call it whatever I want. The Jets have just publicly said, this is going to probably be the worst Hard Knocks ever. We're not going to really cooperate.
David, I read it, and I want nothing. I don't root for injuries. I don't want anybody getting hurt. I want their season to be an unmitigated disaster. I want them to lose all the close games.
You do know they're going to blame it on HBO and the NFL and Hard Knocks then.
And I'm going to blame it on them not participating in HBO, Hard Knocks, and the whole thing. I think this is a joke. I think they're looking like a joke. I think they look like the kid in the neighborhood who didn't get his way and grabbed his ball and ran home so none of the other kids could play because he had the only football in the neighborhood. They look like children.
The one thing that they're absolutely adamant about, they are not going to allow the cameras in to the coach or GM's office when the guys are released. They said, absolutely not. That is not going to take place on film. Nope. We don't believe in it. We don't agree with it. Which is remarkable. It's the same franchise. You could argue. Now, I'm not the huge Hard Knocks guy in comparison to you.
But I haven't watched in a few years. It's the same thing. I mean,
right.
The show, we've seen the show.
But, I mean, you could argue that the one with Rex Ryan and Westhoff, the Jets in either 2009 or 2010 was incredible. Was awesome.
Every part of it.
I mean, for as good as Rex was, Westhoff was better. I mean, I don't listen, we know Mike. We're friends with Mike. Okay. And we love him. Okay. I don't know if a network could hire Mike, Okay, it's kind of like hiring Pat McAfee and putting him on the radio. Yeah, you're a little worried about the language that could just start flowing out. He's good, but the language here could be not PG-13. But man, Westhoff on Hard Knocks was like, you got to put that guy on network television. That guy's amazing.
And I do think that eventually HBO will get some stories because some of the Jets will not take it this way. The cameras will go away in their minds largely after they get going. Because a lot of them are fixed cameras that they won't pay attention to after a day. They'll get back into the routine. Rodgers is going to be looking out for them and avoid them at all costs.
I think it's a really bad look for Saleh. I really do. He's coming off as very uptight. It's like, dude, the HBO cameras are bothering you this much? I could only imagine how you're going to handle the Bills and the Dolphins. I mean, seriously, lighten up. It's training camp. You know all but 4 of the guys that are going to make the team anyway. I'd embrace the hell out of this. I'd give them so much material early that they'd have to leave. They'd be like, there's really no reason for us to stay. This has been great.
Yeah, their animosity towards Hard Knocks has caused me to root against the Jets this year. And I'm not partial to any of the Florida teams. I have fun rooting for the Jags just because of the way I went about it. Their owner bought a house in Naples, and I thought he was listening to the show, so I sucked up to him.
Right. Well, you still are.
Of course. He's still got a place in Naples.
Although I have to admit, if we sucked up to all the people that had places in Naples, there'd be like 4 people we'd be allowed to criticize in the sports world.
It's a damn good point right there, David. But this has made me a Dolphin fan. Reading how much they hate Hard Knocks has me rooting more for the Dolphins.
I got to tell you, you would think if there's a team that would have embraced Hard Knocks, it would have been McDaniel and the Dolphins. Don't you think? I mean, I'm a little surprised that the Dolphins didn't raise their hand even. That's how, I mean, Tyreek Hill is like there's a camera and a microphone that Tyreek Hill doesn't like. I mean, Jerry Jones is watching Tyreek Hill going, wow, that guy really likes himself. Getting back to the Jets for a second, it shows what a difference an administration can make. And we'll let Pat Kirwan on in less than an hour. Pat, who was part of the Jets organization for 15 years, they were the little brother in New York, and they were always looking for attention, and ticket sales was not always a given and what have you. Remember, going back 12 plus years, Rex Ryan as head coach, Mike Tannenbaum as general manager. What do both of them do right now? Media. You got Joe Douglas as GM, Robert Saleh as head coach. What is the one job that neither one of them's ever going to have in their future? No, seriously. I mean, Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas are never getting TV gigs, ever. And you could tell, I mean, the difference in approach. Rex and Tannenbaum did not view the cameras as the enemy.
I think this is not just a bad look. I think it's a bad start for the Jets. To already have an enemy before the season starts, and the enemy's HBO.
And
we're
really
supposed to be worried about the Dolphins, the Bills, and the Patriots, for crying out loud. This is just a bad look, and I think they're starting their season off the wrong way. May not affect them one bit. They may end up winning the division. But I think it's affecting them the wrong way. Miller and Moulton. Pat Kirwan in the 8 o'clock hour. Kevin Weiss coming up in 25 minutes right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn, Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Life Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlifetransportation.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Eggs. Putting that ketchup on eggs, John. What's the matter with you? What are you, 6?
Remember, we don't have Pat next week.
Okay. Mayo on a hot dog. Ambien, you're a strange young man. John, I couldn't read that far. Once I saw steak and eggs, I just got I vomited, and I couldn't really recover from that.
Andy Staples asked Kirby Smart, would Kirby Smart, the coach, offer Kirby Smart, the player, a scholarship to play at Georgia? That's a great question.
What was the answer?
I don't know.
I'm listening to Kirby talk about the speeding. And he's trying,
you might get offered by this You are an athlete. Like, I've noticed, like, the Keely Ringo, no, yes, interception, that national champion. But you got off the ground. I was like, this man wasn't all SEC safety.
That's right. And I was heavy, carried the high off the ground. So if you're creating the force to go vertical that high with that much weight, it's a good vertical leap.
You might get offered by this Georgia team. Maybe.
No chance.
Seriously,
No chance.
do you think you would have been offered by this
No
talent
chance.
level?
Because I would have been in charge of it. So if I'm the head coach, I'm not signing me.
I'm listening to people talk about Kirby and the players speeding, and I don't know. I mean, now Kirby. Now I listened to somebody on ESPN this morning that must have said it yesterday. Wants Kirby to threaten to kick kids off the team for speeding.
Right.
Are you on what in God's green earth where are we in this world?
Now, I will say, though, they're driving like 80 and a 35. I mean, I think what people are upset about is that Kirby is seemingly like completely disinterested, hasn't publicly even said, hey, I don't know what's going on, but we got a problem. You know, I'm going to start benching guys or suspending guys. But it's different kicking them off the team. But obviously, you know, they had the drunken speeding accident.
I know.
Right.
I'm aware. It's awful.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks for joining us. Hump Day edition, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Kevin Weiss to talk about the Rays in a little more than 15 minutes time. Pat Kirwan, all things NFL at the top of the hour. Seth Everett to wrap up the network portion of the show in a little more than an hour's time. Poll question today. Hard hitting.
It's National Hot Dog Day. Do you ruin your hot dog by putting ketchup on it?
Yes, that's right.
That's exactly how it's phrased.
Right, for a reason. Okay. Do you ruin your hot dog by putting ketchup on it? And if you do, be proud. Stick your chest out. Yeah, damn right.
2/3 of you early are in the hell no category.
Yeah.
But I am telling you, the Twitch chat room and the text line have been dominated by condiment talk today, David.
Well, as long as it's condiment talk. All right. As long as it's condiment talk. You know, these media days are going on in college. Hey, if you don't know the difference between the SEC and the Pac-12, I'll just give you a little clue. The SEC's media days are 4 days in Nashville. The Pac-12's media day is Friday. So there you have it. The one conference, 4 days. The other, 1. But Mark, we've been a part of it. We're guilty of it too. You know, we've been on Radio Row for Super Bowls, and you know, not every question's a good one. And so it's tough to come up with good ones. You know, the coaches, they got this thing down. They ain't going to give you squat. You know, the media members, they're there just to, you know, they're going to try not to give you something either. So Andy Staples has made the jump from The Athletic to On 3 Sports. And he's going to be their big, like, podcaster. He's going to be their big face, the guy doing video. Andy's gotten in good shape, too. He looks terrific. I digress. So he's doing a one-on-one with Kirby. You know, 2-time defending national champion coach Kirby Smart.
Number 1 rated Georgia Bulldogs for this year. As of right now, expected to three-peat.
Although 43-year-old Stetson Bennett finally had to go to the NFL.
Which means they may have improved at quarterback.
Well, at least by recruiting rankings, they are. Tough to do better than Stetson. You know, it's like saying that, you know, Jim Kelly was better than Ken Dorsey. Ken Dorsey did a lot of winning. So Andy Staples asked Kirby Smart. It's got to be the best question of SEC media days. Would Kirby Smart, the coach, have offered Kirby Smart, the player, a scholarship? Now, he was an all-conference safety at Georgia in the mid-'90s. Hey, Kirby was a good college player. College player. He was not a pro prospect, but he was a good college player. Game was different then. You could have a big physical safety and what have you. Did you see Kirby's answer?
I did. Kirby, the coach, felt about Kirby, the player, the same way I feel about ketchup on hot dogs.
Quote, no chance. And Andy's like, come on now, the interception, the national title, Ringo, and you jumped off. You were like 3 feet off the ground. You're athletic. And Kirby goes, don't get me wrong, for considering how heavy I am now, that was pretty impressive. But Kirby, me, the coach, offer me the player, no chance.
That's fantastic.
Also shows you how different the game is today.
Well, at least Kirby didn't have to answer a question about his players speeding.
Well, not from Andy Staples anyway. I mean, that's already been, covered.
He answered it from a few others, though.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And now there's no doubt I don't know if a football coach has ever had to bring the driver's ed guy in and say, we're going to spend the next couple days working on fundamentals. Oh, okay, coach. Like cones and what have you? No, cars and parking lots.
10 and 2.
Right, yes. Okay.
And throwing 55 and a 55 for a start.
Right. I mean, we'd love for you to have your hands at 10 and 2, but could we start with both hands on the steering wheel, please? Right. By the way, anything more than 15 miles an hour over the speeding limit is referred to as reckless driving.
Right. He's going to have to get governors on the gas pedals of some of these cars for some of these kids.
You know how some coaches pay officials to come in and work practice and call penalties and what have you? Kirby's going to have to call the law enforcement and go, hey, we're going to do 2 days worth of driving around the parking lot. You just pull over who you think's committed a violation. Eventually, we got to pull everybody over. Got it? I mean, you got to put those 2 state troopers who escort them out to,
right.
midfield and off the field. Got to put them to work, don't you?
Yeah, the jugs gun's not out there for the baseball team. It's out there after practice for the football team to see how fast they leave the parking lot.
Now, 58, you were going 58 and a 35. What did we tell you?
You know which one of those makes me the most nervous? When they have the speeding signs. Whenever I'm going to the airport, because I blow past that sucker every time at 10, 15 miles an hour over what I'm supposed to be doing. That's the one where I'm afraid they're going to get me. I haven't had a speeding ticket in a while, and I've been much better about my speeding. But going to pick someone up at the airport, I'm always late, and I'm always rushing.
I'll say this. It's one thing if the cops want to give us a speeding ticket leaving the airport, but if you give someone a speeding ticket on the way to the airport, that's a Bush League move. Honestly. Come on now. Think about it. Come on. Give them a warning. Don't be handing out tickets.
Well, even giving them the warning, slowing them down enough where they could miss the flight.
You could do that quickly, though. Yeah, you could do that in a minute. Hey, did you know you were going 53 and
they never do it in a minute because they run your license.
I know.
But you're right. So
That's
a good point you make right there.
A Bush League move. You want to get us on the way out? That's fine. That's fair game. What are we in a hurry for? I mean, to go see our family? Come on. We don't love them that much. We should slow down.
Time now for our Clutch Vodka play of the day. Felipe, what do you have for us?
Well, it was a wild night in baseball last night. There were the most runs scored in, what did you say, the Grover Cleveland administration?
May of 94. That's 1894.
Well, the Cardinals scored some runs that drove the dagger into my Marlins soul last night. Nolan Arenado with a walk-off home run.
He's not going, and the pitch is hammered to left field. This could be, and it's gone. Nolan Arenado, a walk-off big fly. A 3-run shot into the bleachers, and the Cardinals walk it off here at Busch Stadium.
Cardinals win. Marlins drop another loss adding on to their 5-game losing streak. Boy, we've never seen this before from the Marlins, you know? They never go up, get our hopes up, and then just start losing all of a sudden. That never
Now,
happens.
hold on a second.
I'm not losing faith.
Yes, you are. It sounded very defeatist there.
Can I not be upset that the Marlins are on a 5-game losing streak?
That's true. But I will argue with you, though. When have the Marlins been good to then drag you down? Usually they just lose in May. The season's over. You don't even get into it.
Well, by good, I mean flirting with 500 or just a little bit around 500.
But Felipe is sad, ladies and gentlemen, because if the playoffs started today, the Marlins wouldn't be in them. He's sad.
I'm nervous.
He's
I
sad.
think he's more nervous of them really diving and finishing underneath 500. I don't even think the playoffs matter to him. He only wants to be right about the preseason comment that he made. And I can tell by that blank-eating grin on his face right now that I am 100% accurate with that.
82 and 80 is the goal, right, Felipe?
That's all it is. Please let me be right and these two morons be wrong. That's all that I want.
I don't blame him.
From one struggling baseball team to another, the Rays, they're struggling as well. Kevin Weiss, he's host of the Locked On Rays podcast. He will join us next on Miller and Moulton, right here on the Florida Sports Network. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Did you see Super 70 Sports?
No.
picture of an SI from 42 years ago, Bobby Knight on the cover, a profile by Frank DeFord. And the quote they pulled: "The greatest motivator in the world is your ass on the bench. Ass meets bench. Bench retains ass. Ass transmits signals to the brain. Brain transmits signals to the body. Body gets ass off bench and plays better. It's a hell of a sequence." He's so right.
Do you have any clue? Someone texted me. I guess the Gators flipped. Dunbar.
Yep.
That's it. Dunbar.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just trying to figure out where he's going to school down here.
Yeah, he had been committed to the Knolls for like 6 months. Georgia lost a 4-star safety yesterday too. He hasn't decided where he's going yet, but I'll tell you, Kirby's a machine right now with his recruiting. They are a machine.
A lot of money in Georgia. You think about it, they had their recruiting dialed in right as NIL came in, and they've got their act together with their NIL.
Yep. Kirby learned it all from Nick. Okay. Took what they were doing there, brought it to Georgia. Okay. There's more money where Kirby is. And Atlanta is a lot closer to Athens than it is to Tuscaloosa.
Damn right. And all those folks in Atlanta, for the most part, are dog fans. I mean, the overwhelming majority, the money in Georgia's dog fans.
Well, the Journal-Constitution a few years ago did that. Didn't they say it was like 90-10, the fandom of Georgia versus like Georgia Tech?
That would make perfect sense.
And you said when you were there that one of the obstacles for the pro teams, like, the pro fan base was splintered, but the college fan base was all Georgia.
All Georgia.
Kevin didn't answer. I'm going to call back and leave a voicemail.
Yes, please do.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
"22 minutes before the hour. Pat Kirwan to join us at the top of the hour. Seth Everett 1 hour from now. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Hoping to catch up with Kevin Weiss, he of the Locked On Rays podcast. Rays got an afternoon tilt, trying to get out of Texas, avoid the sweep. Make sure they're still, they're going to be in first place even if they lose and the Orioles win. Orioles also have a matinee today with the Dodgers. They're trying to get out of town, avoiding getting swept by LA. So 3 first-place teams and the second-place Orioles. And, the Dodgers and Rangers, the 2 West Division leaders, taking it to the 2 best teams in the AL East right now. winning the first 2 games of the series, which also puts the 1 seed in question. Texas getting pretty close to the Rays in the standings now.
The Rays in their last 59 games are 29-30.
What are you trying to say, Mark?
That I think there's plenty of reason for concern with the Tampa Rays right now.
20 of their last 26 homers are solo homers. Guys are not getting on base. Wander is not producing in the last 3-4 weeks much at all. Josh Lowe, even though he homered in the 8th last night, he came up a couple times with ducks on the pond and didn't produce. When it was 5-2 in the 8th, he hits a solo homer. So, I mean, I will say he has swung the bat better since the All-Star break than he was beforehand, and he went on the IL and all that. But, Mark, I actually think if I'm running the Rays, I want a bat more than I want an arm. I really do. I don't think that offense is good enough. And remember, 2 years ago when they went into the postseason, and last year, remember, they played the Guardians. They scored 1 run in 2.5 games because the one game went like 14 innings. They scored 1 run the whole series. The year before, when they were the 1 seed and the Red Sox beat them in the division series in 4 games, I mean, half the lineup didn't produce at all. I think they need more to the lineup. I think they were kind of performing a little over their skis in the first 6-8 weeks of the season. I think, now they're struggling. They're probably somewhere in the middle, but I think they need a bat.
I agree with you, David. And the problem that you mentioned is it's not the lack of home runs for the Rays. It's the lack of getting on base. And they've got to figure out a way to get this. And I think it all starts with Franco. I mean, he's their guy, and he's not hitting the baseball right now. And if you're not getting Franco on base, it really, if the top of the order is not getting on base the way it should, then how do you expect the bottom of the half of the order to pick up for what Franco and some of the others aren't doing?
So, Rays have less than 2 weeks to decide what it is they're going to do. How much of their system also, like if you're running the Rays, how much of your system do you want to sacrifice? How much is this season worth to you?
Well, isn't there a point in which it's got to be worth something more than than the year before? Don't they have to make a serious run in the postseason at some point? Or at least show their fan base they're willing to go all in for a season?
2020, obviously, they went to the World Series. 2021, they were the best team in the American League, and they had a bad week against the Red Sox. Red Sox beat them 3-1. Last year, they limped into the playoffs, and the Guardians pitching just completely shut them down. So the last 2 times they've been in the postseason, their offense let them down. You know what the irony is? They could really use another lefty arm. And Blake Snell may be available from the Padres.
Well, that's interesting because will the Padres and Mets sell?
Well, I will say the Marlins and the Diamondbacks losing would help San Diego and the Mets not sell. I believe they're both like 8 back of a wild card. 8. I think if they can get it to 6 or less, they don't sell. I think if it stays where it is now, Mark, for the next 12 or so days, the Mets certainly will sell. The Padres, though, have real assets. The Mets have a bunch of older, expensive guys who are underperforming. The Padres have real assets. The problem for the Mets is, the guys they'd have to offer up, they'd have to pay off almost all their salary. I mean, unless they're willing to trade Pete Alonso, who's a year and a half away from being a free agent, and he'll be 30 when he's a free agent. And there actually is a healthy discussion about whether or not they should offer Alonso the 5, 6, 7 year, $250 million deal that he's going to want. I mean, I could actually make the case the Mets should trade Alonso But I mean, Mark, Scherzer's only going to agree to be traded to one or two franchises, probably LA. Well, the Dodgers are going to look at the Mets and go, well, he's owed $43 million a year for the rest of this year and all of next year. And I know we're the Dodgers, but you really expect us to pick up nearly $60 million in salary? What are you looking to get back in return besides a bucket of baseballs? Now you pick up 40 million of it. We'll give you a good prospect. And then you have to decide if you're the Mets, is that prospect worth 40 million? And oh, by the way, you don't have Scherzer in your rotation next year. Would Houston take Verlander back? I bet they would. They're short an arm or two. I'll bet you they'd take him back, even though he hasn't looked the same this year compared to last year. But he's got the rest of this year, all of next year, and a player option. Or no, an inning. If he pitches 140 innings next year, his 2025 $43 million salary kicks in. Well, the Astros are going to expect him to pitch 140 or more innings. So if you're the Astros, you're picking up $100 million with Justin Verlander. How much of that are you going to expect Steve Cohen to pick up? 75?
At least 60.
And he's 40 years old. I mean, how much longer is he going to pitch?
But when you're dealing with, you already mentioned Snell, Hader could be on the block for the Padres, which would be extremely attractive to a lot of teams out there.
Oh, my goodness. Lefty closer? Oh, man. Top dollar they'd get for Hader. And Blake Snell, for that matter. Because a couple of the elite pitchers that were thought to be available, their teams have already said they're not going to trade. Like the White Sox have said, I think, about Giolito or the other guy. No, we're not going to trade him. Oh, well, that's the guy you were going to get the most for. Got it. Now, the Cardinals apparently are putting, everybody not named Goldschmidt and Arenado is available in St. Louis. The White Sox should do the same, by the way. They really should. Maybe hold 2-3 guys back. The whole rest of the team should be available. By the way, Alonso's interesting on the Rays. Remember, he's the Tampa St. Pete guy. Now he'd be a DH, but they could use one of those.
They really could.
And when Pete Alonso's right, he can carry you for a month. So, and you'd get him for next year also. Now, you don't need him as a first baseman, but he's not that good at first baseman. You could DH him. You could use a bat. So,
because the long-standing theory for the Rays was they need bullpen help, which they probably do. And their starting pitching's banged up. There are holes on this team. And if they can play 500 ball for the rest of the season, it's going to be enough to be a wild card. But the sights were set a lot higher.
Kevin Weiss, by the way, little mix-up. He will join us tomorrow. So we'll preview the 4-game series with the Orioles with Kevin Weiss of the Locked On Rays podcast. He will join us tomorrow. Our apologies there. But yeah, the Rays have 64 games left. If they played 500 ball, they're going to win 92 games. I mean, that's obviously going to get them in the playoffs. I don't think 92 is going to win the East, though.
Oh, no.
Now, I will say, for Toronto to get to 93, Toronto's got, quick math here, they got 67 games left. They'd have to win 40 of them. I mean, for Toronto to get to 93, they'd have to go 40-27. Well, that's better baseball than they've played so far this year. But Toronto's talented. A lot of people think, Toronto might not be the team you want to mess with in the postseason.
Well, the bats don't quit for Toronto. I mean, that team can hit from top to bottom of the lineup. They're just an unbelievably explosive offensive team.
And their pitching is sneakily tied for third best in terms of runs given up in the American League. That is a dangerous postseason team right there, the Blue Jays.
But the Orioles are the team you got to worry about for the division right now. And obviously, they had a couple little skid here taking on the Dodgers, but they've been playing really good baseball, and we're getting ready for a 4-gamer between the Orioles and the Rays that could go a long way to determine who the winner in the East is.
It's so funny to say that the Rays need a bat, though, because they've scored like 525 runs, second most in the American League. But, just since the All-Star break alone, they've scored 3, they've scored 2, they've scored 4, they've scored 4. First game after the break, they scored 6. Okay. Against the Braves. Now, we know they had that 7-game losing streak. They snapped it by scoring 10, but otherwise they scored 1, 1, 1, 4, 1, 6 in a loss to the Mariners, 3 in a loss to the Mariners. I mean, there's not a lot of days there where they've scored 4 or more runs. A lot of 1s, 2s, and 3s here in this month here. I'm telling you, if I had to make one move, if I were the Rays, I'd get a bat.
Oh, they're going to need more than just one move, though. They need a bullpen arm or two, too, David. They really do.
I agree with you. I think, I mentioned him for a while. Robertson from the Mets is the guy. He's pitched deep into the postseason before. You can use him against lefties, even though he's a righty, because his fastball tail's low and away from him. He can get lefties out. He can handle any spot. You need a strikeout in the 7th. He can get the strikeout. You need him to be 8th, 9th inning guy, handle the heat. He's done it many times. Okay, I really think that's the guy for the Rays. And he's making about $10 million a year. So you run him for he's making about $1.5 million or so a month. He's $3 million, basically, Robertson. And if you really need to, the Mets would pick it up. I mean, it's already on their books. So, Cohen would pick it up, but you'd have to give up a better prospect. But I really think you want a guy, that's the guy for the Rays to get. Throws hard enough. He's a strikeout guy in the back end of the bullpen, and as a righty, he can get lefties out. And he's pitched in the games that you think you're going to be playing in before, and pitched well.
21,000 is the text line. What should the Rays do? For that matter, should the Marlins be out there and being aggressive right now as well? 2-1-0-0-0, the number on the text line if you want to chime into the show. If you've never texted before, text the keyword FSN Radio, all one word, FSN Radio, all one word to 21,000 to text on some baseball or condiments, because our poll question today revolves around National Hot Dog Day. Do you ruin a hot dog by putting ketchup on it?
And yes, we worded it that way for a reason. Miller and Moulton united on this front. Getting back to baseball very quickly. There are a lot of those in the sport. Because remember, they had the draft here, right around All-Star game. And a lot of people in the sport, they used to have it in like June. And a lot of the front offices have said, yeah, the reason why we're all getting a really late start on these trades, we were consumed with the draft up until a week ago. All right. And they're basically asking Rob Manfred, I know you're trying to make All-Star Weekend a bigger deal and have the draft be part of it. They're like, can you move the draft back to mid-June? This way we can be done with the draft and we can move on to our major league teams. And we could start scouting guys that we're maybe going to acquire in trades, and you give us 6 weeks before the trade deadline. Now we've had 3. That's all we're going to have. Like, I heard an interview with the GM literally yesterday who said, I literally am just starting to have trade conversations. He goes, normally I would have had them for a month already.
That seems crazy to me with the number of scouts that baseball teams have. That seems like
an excuse.
An excuse.
Okay. I still think with so many teams in it, and there's enough teams that are out of it, I actually think it will be a fairly active trade deadline. But right now, people are saying if it's not, they think the draft being pushed back may be the reason.
Doesn't it sound like a bit of an excuse to you?
A little bit, yes. I'd like to think the front office is big enough. Pat Kirwan will switch gears. All things NFL next.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone, on 5th Avenue in Naples.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Can you guys hear me?
Sure can.
Oh, good. I got a different headset on. I just wanted to know if it was working.
Yep. Morning, Pat.
Fix the stuff. Good morning, fellas.
Hey, David, when did Roto want to do the event if we do it? Oh, of course. You froze up right when I do that. That's fantastic.
Hello?
There you are. You just froze up for a second.
It's the second weekend, either that Friday or Saturday.
Okay.
It's funny you say he froze up, Mark. I thought he was thinking about the answer. I go, what is it? What's taking so long here?
So the 11th or 12th is what he's talking about?
Yeah. Doesn't school start on the 9th or 10th?
10th.
The 10th of August?
Yeah.
Wow.
Would you rather do it on the 10th? I would think that would be a bad day to do it because it's first day of school.
No, I'd rather do it on the 17th.
Yeah, I know. I asked him that, and he said that didn't work. I'll ask him again.
Or the 16th. I just want to be able to give enough promo time for it to sell it out.
The 16th is a Wednesday, right?
Yep.
What's new, fellas?
You leave Saturday morning?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I Saturday, I think it's like 1 o'clock or something like that.
Direct flight or?
I'm going to Venice, and then it's a 2-hour drive.
Okay.
the kids are on a plane going to Vienna and then driving. I think their drive is 4 hours, but they had a cheaper flight or something. So whatever USA Hockey wants to do, they do. So I prefer to be by myself anyway. I'm looking forward to the drive. I want to talk to a guy that has taken me. He goes, oh, it's all beautiful. So, and Paul Alexander's over there. I'm trying to connect with Paul. He's coaching the team in Dresden. I guess they're like college age kids. And he goes, it's really kind of amazing. He goes, we got a pretty good team, but people have a hard time with us. He said, we're averaging 50 points a game. They're going to need to get more NFL guys over there. You're coaching against some farmer from Dresden.
Yeah, really.
But every line coach in the world has always wanted to call plays, and the coordinators never let him call plays. So he's having a great time doing it.
Good for him.
Oh, yeah. They paid him a shitload of money to do it.
Well, there you go. It's even better. Yeah. So you're all done with your list, right? You've got all your point totals added up?
No, we're in the middle of the secondary, and we'll wrap that up by tomorrow. But I'm pretty close. I kind of know everyone's score already. But I like the defense. I was just working on total score for defenses. It was pretty impressive, some of them, and pretty bad for others.
Okay.
Really, really bad. I can cover all that if you want.
Yeah, because we have a question in the Twitch chat room about the Bears D-line.
Yeah, well, we broke them down. The defensive tackle population is terrible, and the outside guys are a little above average. They're still not stout enough inside.
Here we go.
And not deep enough.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Third and final hour of Miller and Moulton along the network in Lake City and surrounding areas, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice. Halfway home in the 239 Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Pat Kirwan joins us once again. He of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, which is weekday afternoons 3 to 7 on NFL Radio. He's also part of CBS's NFL Today show. They have the Super Bowl this year. Pat joins us courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, dozen locations in between. Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh. 50 days, buddy.
Yeah,
50 days, Lions and Chiefs. My, oh, my. Are you ready?
Well, Mark, does he always do this to you? Does he start rubbing it in?
No, every day we get the numbers. It's not rubbing it in. Every day that's excitement to us, Pat. We are counting them down, getting ready for Lions and Chiefs. Those are exciting times on this show. I know it means you don't get a day off now. You're actually going to take a week off. The first time that I've known you taking a week off since I've known you, and then you'll work every single day, well, for the rest of your life.
Well, yeah, especially if I die in 2024. But yeah, I get back my little trip, and we go straight to the Patriots, and we're on the road to, I think, August 24th or 5th. Then it's got some CBS meetings, and then I start my 6-day-a-week radio schedule, which I know you guys would love to have a 6-day-a-week radio schedule. I can just imagine you guys really enjoying Saturday mornings, except David's flying all over the country with all of his football.
Well, I'll tell you what, if somebody paid us for it, we have talked about, doing shows beyond Monday through Friday. Okay. But you've known us for a long time, Pat. What has been the problem behind Miller and Moulton? Financing. Okay. So if we ever get that, in step, believe me, we know the huge audience that is out there. Saturday late mornings, early afternoons, and Sunday late mornings. Believe me.
Yeah.
We would, if we could make money on it, we'd be all over it.
Pat, we're both doing a show for our wives while David's just doing one in the hotel room. I'm doing one for the wife and the dog and the daughter every Sunday morning. I'd much rather be doing it and getting paid.
Well, I agree with you. And I will say this about our audience on Saturdays, a completely different group.
Yes.
Number one, there's a lot of guys that just work and can't call you during the week. But number two, the gamblers, they want to hear the medical report. They want to know the ripple effect of the injuries. And I think if I was in the perfect world, I think I'd do the show 4 to 6 on Saturday afternoon, because you usually get enough information to conclude the ramifications of injuries and weather. You're starting to really get a pretty good idea of weather and, teams that don't play well in snow, rain, whatever. So if I was doing it from the perspective you guys are coming from, 2 hours is all you need, and you'd bang out, and you'd have a flood of the right kind of guys wanting to know something on Saturday.
Well, you and your co-host Jim Miller, you have gone through all the team's position groups.
Yeah.
Not just the starters, but the depth. And you're all but done. I think you're wrapping up the secondary by the end of this week. So, and you guys assign point totals to every unit. So you're able to know, well, this group on a scale of 1 to 20, they scored an 18. They're pretty good. So now that you're all but done, like we have a question from Hops in our Twitch chat room. Is the Bears D line as bad as people say? When you've started adding this up, what conclusions can you now form?
Sure. Well, let me just, in general sense, I don't think it's a big shock, but on the defensive side, which is where I'm just wrapping up the collection of all the positions. So we break it down into defensive tackles, pass rushers, inside linebackers, and secondary. The three worst teams in the league, and the worst of them all, are the Rams by far on defense. And it's not hard to understand when you look at all the guys that have left. And then you have the Raiders are not very good. And, of course, the Arizona Cardinals are terrible. So those are the three teams that on defense are really shaky and could have some major problems. The question about Chicago, and that's why we try to break it down a little differently. It's their problem is the defensive tackle, the inside population, which tells you they're going to have a hard time stopping the run. They're not that bad. The inside linebackers are good, but there's nothing in front of them. They're going to get blocked by people now. So that's their problem. And they're not bad in the secondary. They've made enough moves over there. They went out and bought a secondary. And if you look at what they're doing with their guys, really in the inside linebackers, maybe that's even a better example. They just have flat out all new guys. So they're going to be good in the back end. We call it the back seven, but up front is still a liability. And if you looked at it, D tackles and pass rushes combined, they're below average. So that's going to be their problem.
Pat, Tyreek Hill said he's going to win the Super Bowl and get 2,000 yards. I'll put the Super Bowl comments aside because I think every player, when asked if they're going to win the Super Bowl, should answer yes this time of the year. That is the goal, after all. So I have no issue with that. And I don't have a problem with the 2,000 yards. I'm more curious if the Dolphins are going to be forced to throw the ball that much, because I don't think if you pin McDaniel down, he'd say Tyreek Hill's going to get 2,000 yards because he wants to run it more. Are they going to be able to run it more?
I think they're going to have to run it more, even if it's not very productive. They're going to have to do it to protect Tua. They cannot put Tua in a 35 to 40 throw game unless they're losing and they have to do it. But I think you're going to see them in the first half of games really playing 50-50 ball because they're trying to get to the second half, and they're trying to get to the second half of the season. And, so I don't think he's getting 2,000 yards. First off, he's got to hope that he's eligible for 17 games, right? Doesn't he have a little issue that hasn't been resolved yet?
Yes.
Okay, well, he might have to do it in 15 games, would be my guess.
If I can just go back to, you mentioned the three worst defenses graded out as the Rams, the Cardinals, and the Raiders. Well, the Rams have this Aaron Donald guy. He's 32. I mean, he's already talked about he's nearly retired twice. If the Rams start out as bad as you and many others think they're going to be, he's going to, by the end of September, say, listen, trade me or I'm done. I don't need to do this anymore. Now, he's got an interesting contract. The cap hits $26 million, but like 12 and a half of it is going to be stuck on the Rams because it's like restructuring and signing bonus. What would a 32-year-old Aaron Donald, whose salary for the rest of the season is $13 million, what would he get if the Rams put him on the market?
1 and 2. He's a super dynamic player, and we could look at some of the interior teams that have really bad scores, and you'd start saying, well, why wouldn't they? They would just. We just talked about Chicago. They have a low score.
Yeah, but he wouldn't want to go there. He's going to want to go somewhere to win a ring.
Well, let's look at the contenders. And I would say Dallas has a low score inside. Cincinnati, they're not bad. Cleveland, low score. Green Bay is not going to want to go there, low score. He's not going to the Raiders. That's a waste of his time. Philadelphia, they've got the youngsters. But as I look at this, I would say Dallas should be the team that should be after him.
Well, and Pat, now granted, we try desperately to pay attention to the cap on a day-to-day basis, but it's our understanding that there's about a handful of teams who still have cap room. The Browns and Cowboys have cap room.
Correct. And they both think they're contenders, which for sure Dallas is because the NFC is so weak. But I think Cleveland's a lot closer than people think. The problem for them is their division. And the problem for them beyond that is some guy called in yesterday and was like, 3 teams are coming out of the AFC North as playoff teams. And what do you tell me? You're ignoring the Dolphins, the Jets, the Chargers. There are other teams in here. So to get a third team in is going to be very hard. But so getting there as the second team, you're going to have to be damn good. And I think Cleveland needs more juice to get there. And I would think that a guy like that, Aaron Donald, would be perfect.
How confident are you that their quarterback is ready to play like the guy that was in Houston before he decided to sit out? I mean, at the end of the day, we still don't know how well Deshaun Watson can play anymore.
I talked to Kevin Stefanski, know him pretty well for a lot of personal reasons, but he's pretty excited about where it is. And Kevin just talks to me straight. He still calls me Mr. Kirwan, which is kind of sad, but he was my son Sean's roommate in college, and they played 4 years together. But I think he's very excited. He said what impressed him most, and what is impressing him most, is his knowledge of the game. It's like he's not just a guy who runs around. He really does see the concepts. He really does see the adjustments. And in my mind, the way Kevin was talking is they're honing in on what's the right package for him. And I'll bet you $1 to donuts that he's talked to Bill O'Brien at length about Deshaun. And I'm very optimistic he's going to do well.
I have to admit, I don't understand why the Browns have not fortified the defensive tackle position. They have been bad defending the run for 2 years, and they still have not really fortified that position. Last year, we banged on them and said, why are they not signing Ndamukong Suh? I mean, we just talked about it. I mean, come on, it's the AFC, man. You got to be really good just to make the playoffs in that conference this year. I mean, there's no reason to hold back and try to get cute and think we can sneak in with what we have.
Well, I felt the same way about them getting D-Hop. I thought they needed to get D-Hop too. So you did ask a specific question about Aaron Donald. I just went right through my chart, which is why I keep this. And I said, okay, target team. They should be good, and they need a D tackle. And there's my friends over in Cleveland with an 11, which is a terrible score. They need them, and that's the place I would target and go find out. I'll tell you another place that might want to consider them. That's going to be a playoff team. I can say that with some degree of certainty. Is Jacksonville. Jacksonville had a 13. That's not a good score. They should run away with that division if they just get another guy or two. And there's one I'd go after.
So you don't think the D-Hop to Tennessee makes them a legitimate rival in that division? I mean, they were banged up last year. They're going to be healthier going in. You don't consider Tennessee a foe for Jacksonville?
Not really. I just think Tennessee had their peak. I don't know. And I think the three of us have talked about that. They had their peak 2 years ago. And now you start looking at them. Again, I'll go right to my chart and see where they're standing. Not very good at the inside linebacker stuff, and not very good in the secondary. When I say not very good, below average. And I think the quarterback situation in Jacksonville they're just pulling away from people now. Doug Peterson and that quarterback. Yep.
Yeah, they could be good for a while, which, by the way, when you're asking for $2 billion from a community for a new stadium, it helps to have a young franchise quarterback and to start winning. Just saying, timing.
Yeah, you're our GM, David, and I'm now more convinced than ever. You have to draft a quarterback who's good right away. 2 years max. When you start talking in the third year, he's just getting, forget that. You need to have him right away, and they have that, and they're going to be good for a while.
He's Pat Kirwan. More with Pat on the other side here on Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
You're still there?
I'm right here. Everything good?
Yeah. I'll take the train into the city Friday and
great.
Hope they're ready for me.
Oh yeah, they'll be ready for you. How fucking hot is it down there? Well, I keep hearing from my buddies I talk to that stuck around there. These have been not even playing golf.
Pat, I got a question. Where is it not hot? I mean, it's
been raining so much up here. I was at Saratoga all weekend. My wife and I, we had 47th wedding anniversary, so we went to Saratoga for 3 days. It rained every day, and it was kind of cool after it. So I never felt like the oppressive heat. My kids down the Jersey Shore said it was just ridiculous. I did play golf yesterday morning, but I had to skip around the course to find 7 holes that didn't have enough rain on it that I could actually drive the cart. And we saturated the ground, just not even running off. And the lake is so high, it's over my deck, the dock. It's just over it. So I got to wade through the water to get to the boat. I anchored it down a little bit more, but yeah, it's all about rain up here. The family from South Carolina, Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
Oh my God. They turned onto a country road. I guess they're going to their cousin's house and the car got swept away. The wife got killed. The baby got killed. Grandma held on, but one of the child, she couldn't hold the kid. The kid drowned. The father and one of the kids made it. What a nightmare. A lot of that going on with this rain. Sunday at the track, they had a 4 inches of rain in 1 hour. You can't make that up.
So a gentleman in our Twitch chat room knows what a hockey fan you are, and you talked about your relationship with Stefanski. He says Stefanski's uncle, CEO of the Flyers. You should be able to get good tickets.
I'm pretty sure I can get tickets to most things, but I'm not taking advantage of Kevin. You know, I've said this, and people think I'm crazy. I have no desire to watch live hockey more than just going to the Everblades games.
Yeah,
When
you are
when
great.
you were
You
in
are
my
great.
business, well, when you were in my business and you gave multi-million-dollar deals out to guys who didn't try hard, I go there for the inspiration of watching guys who are making nothing play as hard as they can. It refreshes and renews my belief in athletes.
I will say, hockey players very rarely mail it in, even in the regular
No.
season. They don't hit as much anymore in the regular season as you'd like, but they play. They very rarely just throw their sticks on the ice.
You know, you guys know more about hockey than me, but the velocity that the game is played at, you can't really ever dog it.
No.
That's
like football.
just
It's why I think that's why you like it, Pat, because football's that way. I mean, I know guys can take a playoff, but for the most part, if you take a playoff in football, you get exposed.
Yeah, and I think, look, football is what I've done with my whole life. But when you watch hockey, what I start to appreciate even more is there's no stop and start. You know, go back to the huddle, and I get it, but I wrote an article for the NFL Super Bowl magazine 15 years ago that it was time to get rid of the huddle and just play up-tempo football and allow maybe 3 or 4 huddles a quarter, and that's it. Move the game along, especially if you want to appeal to the Europeans and everybody else.
Here's the problem, though, and I know we're coming back. The networks would hate it. It would eliminate replays. It would be an awful television product.
Well, there's probably another reason I'd like to do it. I don't know.
10 seconds.
Come on.
I hear you.
But that's where the transition game is on. You're just playing, and you're
Here
on
we go.
offense, you're on defense, back and forth.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Our remaining moments with Pat Kirwan before, well, he takes a week off, and then he'll be doing his training camp tours for the better part of a month. So Pat joining us courtesy of Pinchers from Tampa to Key West, and many points in between Pinchers because you can't fake fresh. All right, I'm going to label the three of us here. You're the management guy. I'm more the players guy. Mark is very much in the middle. But both of us, and obviously me more so than Mark, a little surprised that the Raiders and the Giants did what they did with Jacobs and Barkley when we found out that apparently the Giants and Barkley were $2 million total apart, and that Jacobs thought so much a deal was going to get done. He was sitting in the parking lot in his car with Max Crosby waiting for the text from his agent that never came. And I mention this because is it worth alienating the relationship with your best player over what, in the grand scheme of things, was not a lot of money?
Well, I think there's two different cases. There's a lot of similarities, but let me just start with the Raiders. They get rid of their quarterback. The Giants didn't get rid of their quarterback, but the quarterback contract in New York was part of this equation with Barkley. Look, Barkley, he believed all along that he was worth $16 million a year, and they offered him 13, and they guaranteed 2 years. And now he should look back and regret that he didn't take the deal. The players on the team are not, they're going to play hard. He's going to show up for the first game, and they're going to play. The other place, the Raiders, to me, Josh landed up being at least the spokesman of the offense and the guy that's kind of the motivational star for everyone. And if you're a Raider, you're thinking, man, if they're doing this to Josh, what are they going to do to me? So it's a morale issue. I don't see that with the Giants. They know this has been brewing for a while, and he'll play on the tag. And at the end of the season, they're going to try and negotiate with him again. And then he's going to have to understand that the tag might be coming down, but he'll get 120%. So he's going to be scheduled for $12 million. They'll gladly tag him again if he doesn't want to do a deal. And then he's doing a 2-year deal, which if he doesn't get hurt this year will be good for him. He gets hurt, they're not going to even tag him. That goes for both of these guys. Did these two running backs take into account injury when they turned down the deals that were on the table? I mean, I think they were dumb not taking what was out there. They weren't taking long-term deals. They were probably twos. And two means you can get back to the table one more time. So I don't think the players on the team are going to really care. They're whoa, Saquon's not here. No, he's going to be there. He has to play if he wants to get to another tag.
All right, Pat, this is me being the cynic that I am. I immediately started rooting against the Jets when I read how much they hate being on Hard Knocks. They're professionals. This is not that big of a deal. Why are the Jets making more of this than they need to make and taking on an enemy that's not their enemy? HBO does not, as far as I've checked on their 17-game schedule, I do not see the Jets facing HBO in a game that matters. Why are they making so much out of this?
Well, they felt like it was forced on. Look, the way it's set up, 2 losing seasons, and they can make you do it. And there's no one around here, and especially this is New York. All right, Detroit last year. I've been at almost every camp for Hard Knocks in the last 6 or 7 years, and smaller cities with less name recognition, they actually like it. But we saw the problem in Cleveland. We all remember what that looked like when they had the cameras rolling in the room and the head coach was standing in front of it, and his OC, Mr. Todd Haley, said, we need to hit more. These guys aren't very tough. And the head coach had a meltdown, and the whole country saw it. So there's going to be something that leaks out. And if I'm the Jets, I don't want them around. Look, the Jets have been down for so long. The last thing they want to do is be viewed. They know Belichick's watching. So let me go right there. Remember when they had that running back? What was his name? The little kid. He landed up he was on the Jets. They showed him at practice, blah, blah, blah. They tried to cut him and put him through to the practice squad, and Belichick claimed him. And they claimed they saw him on Hard Knocks. Wood something. Tough little guy. But so you're going to lose information to your opponents. And if I'm them, I don't want to do it either. And I don't mind. Finally, someone's griping about it.
Yeah, but it's not going to go away. The other thing is we've all known for months they were going to get it. I mean, we may be making something out of nothing here, but I mean, if Robert Saleh is getting this bent out of shape about this, I'm really wondering whether or not he can handle the heat of the Jets being a serious playoff contender. I mean, honestly, it just seems as if just give them their binky and go into the corner. They're seeming very babyish about this.
Well, you're making an interesting connection between not wanting to do this and being talented enough on the sideline to win games. They've all watched the other Hard Knocks. They know before this is over, something's going to leak out that they never wanted the public to see or their opponents to see. And their deal, and Rodgers, we all know who Rodgers is. Besides a great player, he's a sensitive guy. He's the one who's not going to cooperate. Mark my words. He'll be walking in right after practice. He's going to work out indoors over there, and if he wants to do extra work with receivers. So I've told you before, to me, Hard Knocks has had a shelf life, and it's over. They're just repeating the same story over and over again with a different uniform. I think there's better ways to do Hard Knocks.
One would be the regular season, Pat, but no one would agree to do that.
No, but I think you should take a division and stop by for 2 days at each division and start painting a picture of a division, not one team. And the other thing I hate about them is when they do show you a player getting cut. I wish they'd show me when you're firing talent on the air. Show me that. That's what I want to see.
Well, the Jets have said they are not going to allow that. They do not care. All right. Don't care how much grief they get. Don't care if the NFL shows up with armed forces. They are not going to show them cutting or releasing a player.
That's
all right. And I'm fine with that. I am, because I think we all were taken aback a little bit when we saw it. It's great TV, but it sucks to be the guy getting fired on TV.
It sucks to be the parents of the kid getting fired. It sucks to be the wife of the kid getting fired. It sucks for all of us to think that's entertaining. It's disgraceful. And Believe me, I might bring in Rodgers and say, we're going to let you go, Aaron, and just see if they'll put that on there.
Our final thought about this, though, is that we wondered if you're Rodgers, okay, do you take this proverbial bullet for the rest of your team here? Like you said, he's going to try to do everything, away from the cameras. If I was Rodgers, I might actually say, listen, I'm going to endear myself to everybody else who doesn't want these cameras around. I know they'll follow me everywhere. Okay, I'm going to be the star of Hard Knocks this year. And then this way I can look at my team and go, see, okay, that's what franchise quarterbacks do. We take the heat. Now it's time to perform.
I think that's as wishful thinking as I've heard from you in a long time. Hey, Mark, the next thing he's going to say is, look, we're in trouble here. You take the heat for this. You be the man. Get out in front of the owner. No, Rodgers ain't doing that.
Well, the Packers are getting Hard Knocks next year if they have a losing season this year. That one's etched in stone.
Yeah.
Pat, safe travels. Enjoy your week, and we'll catch up with you during the training camp tours as best we can, okay?
Yeah, we'll make a couple. Every 2 or 3 days, I'll probably do 2 a week just because if I don't want to do 5 teams and then we're starting to talk about 5, I'll get in touch with you guys and tell you when, because the mornings might be really good.
Perfect.
Thanks,
Kirwan.
Pat.
Take care,
NFL
man.
Radio's moving the chains 3 to 7 weekdays on NFL Radio and part of CBS's NFL Today show, and they have the Super Bowl this year to CBS. Pat joining us courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, and a bunch of points in between Pinchers because you can't fake fresh. From Pat to Seth Everett, that's how we roll on a hump day here on Miller and Moulton.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Hi, Seth.
Morning, guys.
How are you?
I'm good. Late night last night, early turnaround today, but that's the way of the world.
Is that your normal?
No, it was
normal Tuesday night to Wednesday.
Tuesday night we went to Dave Matthews.
Oh,
that was fun. Today I have iHeart, but not super early. A little 6 a.m. start. Have a little break, so I don't have to start iHeart again until 9:15. So I'm good.
Is this your normal schedule on Wednesdays?
No.
No.
This was extra. And then I got to get Hall of Justice done because tomorrow we're going to Maine for a little vacation and visit the kids.
Oh, is this the weekend that parents are allowed at camp?
Parents are allowed. Yep.
I'm just reciting lines from the movie Meatballs in my head because that's as close as I can get to any camp. I was never at one.
There you go. I'm getting my phone to load up podcasts that my wife will tolerate.
Could just use the headphones,
My wife just puts the headphones on and listens to them.
I could. I think that then we'll cross a line. Then our communication will just go one notch lower. I think if we could sit next to each other and listen to the same thing, that'll be a plus. I'm going to try.
So you guys are still trying to be fond of one another.
We're trying.
Right. That's good. That's noble. That's
it's
good
noble. It's the effort.
Right. A little something for the effort.
It's funny because my wife got up this morning and I'm getting out of the shower. We kind of, the same bathroom, getting in and out of the shower in the morning. And I'm talking to her and she just looks at me. She goes, "It's 5:10 in the morning. I'm not ready to talk to you yet."
I get that.
I'm just trying to be friendly and have a conversation here.
Honey, I get it, but if I wasn't leaving by 5:30,
yep,
I wouldn't be trying to talk to you.
I set my alarm for 6:05, not 6. I went for the big 6:05, and at 6, she said, "Don't you have work?"
Oh, I hate when my wife, because we don't sleep in the same bed. In fact, we sleep in different rooms because of our schedules. And every now and then I will have done my prep work the night before. So instead of getting up at like 4:20, 4:30, I will get up at 5:20.
Right.
And invariably she will walk in at 5:10 and go, "Don't you have to get up?
Don't you have to get up? Don't you have the show?"
No. I'm 57. I really can set the alarm and get up for work. But okay. Thanks.
I did
honey.
something. I did something on Facebook I'd never done before. I had Dwight Gooden on the podcast. He's going to be on in 2 weeks, but I was getting ready to record it, and I've done like a dozen interviews with him. So I wrote on Facebook. I said, "You guys want to ask questions? Anybody want to ask questions?" And the questions were so unique. They were fascinating. And Gooden said, "Those were questions I'd never been asked before." Here's one. Was there a player that you didn't get along with while you were playing, but that when you were having your problems stuck by you? I would never have asked that.
That's a great question.
That was from a Facebook person. That I would not have asked. I was floored. I'd never done 400 episodes of Sports with Friends. I'd never considered doing that, and I did it for good because I was like, "What do I ask him? 86? Okay, you missed the parade. You were on cocaine." Like I just didn't want to do a boring podcast.
What's the most consecutive hours you ever stayed awake at one time because of Peruvian marching powder?
See, there you go. I could have asked that. He had a blast. He was really into it. He talks really fast. I don't know if people are going to understand what he says, but
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
It's our final segment along the network in Lake City, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice. The bonus hour begins at the top of the hour for Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. This day and time has been reserved for Seth Everett for a long time. He joins us once again. Sports with Friends Hall of Justice is 2 terrific podcasts. Follow him on Twitter at Seth_Everett, Seth_Everett. You know, we were just talking about Hard Knocks, and, you know, listen, hey, thanks for joining us, you know, blah, blah, blah.
I have a
So,
big question about Hard Knocks, but
well,
yeah, no,
and
you
that's
first.
why I was bringing it up. You brought this point up on Twitter.
Yeah.
And it is a very valid point. Go.
Yeah.
Go. Bring it up.
How is it happening? Like, who's writing it? And how is Liev Schreiber voicing it? I did talk to someone from SAG-AFTRA. I'm in SAG-AFTRA, so I talked to someone in the union. As far as Liev voicing it, there are voiceover contracts, including animation, that are not part of this contract with the AMPTP. That's the movie studios. So the Schreiber part of it could be a pass. You know, he could be legally.
So he will not be crossing a picket line.
He's not crossing a picket line if he voices it. That I learned since then. But the writing, that dumbfounds me, because whoever's writing this now, the way you skirt it is you just have an executive producer or somebody write it, and that's crossing that's compromising the WGA. The writers have been on strike for 2.5 months. If you've seen the rhetoric, especially that clown Bob Iger, who's been talking to CNBC this week, the rhetoric between the studios and the writers and the actors have been awful. I don't know if you guys saw what Leslie Jones said. It's now on Front Street. In order to get health insurance for your family, you have to earn $26,000 in negotiated SAG-AFTRA deals. 87% of the union do not earn that. So this is not millionaires striking against billionaires. This is not the baseball strike. These are real people who are broke, and they are striking, and I'm fully supportive of them. The fact that Hard Knocks just put out a press release. Hard Knocks just said, hey, it's happening. And the New York Jets are kicking and screaming. They hate it. I talked to 2 Jets reporters on social media. I DM with 2 Jets reporters that are friends of mine. The Jets are miserable. They're begging these cameras to get out of here. They don't want it. No one wants this except the viewer. And we're like, and the NFL's like, who cares as long as the viewer is good? We don't care. And my whole thing is, you cross these picket lines, these strikes are real, and I'm a big supporter of them.
Yeah, I'm anti-Jets because of their stance on not wanting to do Hard Knocks. I mean, they're being such children about this. These are, I think it's laughable that they're trying to take on an opponent called HBO. Worry about beating the Bills and the Dolphins and not worry about so much about HBO.
But for the record, and you've researched this, there's no way this show can be written. So the scripts that are being provided for Liev Schreiber to voiceover, whoever's doing that is crossing the picket line, correct?
No. I don't know that for a fact. What I don't know who's writing it. Is that writer part of the WGA?
Gotcha.
And that I haven't gotten. I'm not in the WGA. That I haven't gotten down to the bottom. The responses I got on Twitter were only about Liev Schreiber. I didn't get that answer, but
I just wanted to bring it up.
Should he not be doing this based on what you found out? I mean,
I think it's bad optics. I think it's bad optics because you know what? Liev Schreiber is a millionaire. You know, he's not one of the 87% that's not going to get their health insurance this year. You know what I'm saying? So I think it looks bad. And I think Hard Knocks should not air this year, just like John Oliver's not airing this year, and just like the late night shows are not airing this year. Entertainment is taking a back seat because the system. If you thought the baseball owners versus the players was a broken system, this is it times 9. Like, they hate each other.
Well, there's going to be no original series television beginning in mid-September when it normally is. I mean, the only original television programming is going to be sports.
Well,
and
let
news.
me quantify that, though. Let me quantify that. You're talking networks. The networks are the lowest rung of the entertainment right now, and there have been a lot of shows that are premiering as it is. Billions is coming out. What We Do in the Shadows is coming out. The Bear just came out. There's a bunch of shows. The Morning Show is premiering. Star Wars Ahsoka is coming out. I just named 7 shows. None of those are on ABC, CBS, or NBC. Those networks are putting out caca. The Golden Bachelor? Come on, stop.
So, so the people producing caca, okay, they will not be producing original caca. Okay,
Correct.
the people that are producing quality, that are actually willing to pay for it, they'll be producing television, or they got it recorded before the strike.
Well, and when the writers' strikes started 2.5 months ago, immediately it was reality, game show. Now with the SAG-AFTRA strike, some of those can't have hosts. So even some of the reality shows have to be canceled. That's why you saw CBS is going to air Yellowstone, which is a show that's been on Paramount Plus for 4 years, I think it's been. And now they're just going to air the first run episodes. ABC is going to air Ms. Marvel, which has been on Disney Plus for 3 years. I mean, you're going to start to see these streaming services. Basically, those networks are literally just filling time. They are just filling time trying to tread water to stay alive so that their local news can air. That's all those networks are doing.
So you think, by the way, just on the strike side, this is going to last a while? From what the people you're talking to, that this is nowhere close to being resolved.
And then we saw that awful comment. Yeah, you saw that awful comment from Deadline reported where one of the studio execs said that they want some of the writers to become homeless. It's just it's the nastiness is just it's incredible. And I covered strikes. I've covered labor. I my favorite strike that was the almost strike of 2002. I mean, that they didn't go on strike; they settled at the last hour. I covered every minute of that. I covered every minute of that negotiation. I've seen strikes. I've worked with the MLB Players Association. I know that world, and I've been in SAG-AFTRA for over a decade now. This one is nasty, and I don't know how this resolves itself, because what they want is they want to be paid. The actors want to be paid residuals on viewership, and these streaming services are not saying how many people are watching these shows. So how can you play a residual on viewership when you're not saying how many people are watching? You're at an impasse. I don't know how you resolve this. So how long this goes, I have no idea. But eventually these people are going to have to feed their families. I don't know how this is going to work.
Why are you in SAG-AFTRA? Now, you have a very versatile career. We've joked about how many W-2s you get and all that. What part of your career made you because I'm assuming you joined because you had to.
Oh yeah. So originally I joined AFTRA, the Federation of Television Radio Artists. It was when I worked for ESPN. That's when I had to join. In that time, AFTRA merged with Screen Actors Guild.
Right.
And so it became SAG-AFTRA. What we learned, we had this big meeting last week. Every contract that SAG-AFTRA negotiates is separated. So my contract from SAG-AFTRA currently is with iHeartMedia. That's my primary job. And so I have to go to work. My contract is not, we didn't strike, but I was asked to show solidarity in their strike. And for example, I have been asked to go to picket lines. And my response was, if it's ever under 90 degrees, I'll be there.
I mean, I'll take one
that line, Seth.
Seth, you're like Mark. Mark,
yeah, but it's a little hot, you know.
Mark won't go to football games in Florida before Halloween. Okay, he's just saying, no, I'll support you. Just not before Halloween.
It's too hot. I mean, if this thing goes into September, I'll be there. It's hot. But it's a weird thing. What I understand is showing solidarity for them. Don't forget what you want, because the union is so big now. When we get into a contract negotiation with iHeart, and we've had those negotiations, we have a steering committee and all that. I'm a member of SAG-AFTRA's podcast steering committee. I negotiate deals for podcasts and stuff like that. Like, I'm a member of that committee. when there are walkouts, you show solidarity, because when there are problems with me and iHeart, you want all these big fancy actors to have your back. So we have their back. Plus, they're right.
Tom Glavine saved baseball in 02, didn't he? Glavine was the one that
very instrumental.
He was the big voice in the union, and the owners were willing to go do it again. And Glavine was the one that said, "Guys, I was here in '94. We can't do this again."
Well, yeah, but my source for all my information that year was Robbie Manfred, and if I thought for a second he'd be commissioner, I'd have been a lot nicer to him. And I will say that in the beginning of the negotiations, it was pizza. That was our big thing. We would go for pizza after the negotiations. But then once it got really close, it evolved into adult beverages. And that's when the relationship really evolved. I never, on my wildest dreams, you could have given me a lie detector test right then and there. I was convinced Jimmy Lee Solomon, the late, great Jimmy Lee Solomon, was going to be Bud Selig's replacement. I was convinced of that. And I never saw Rob Manfred in any way, shape, or form as commissioner.
Did you
and
call
I said
him
that
Robbie?
to his face. What?
Did you call him Robbie?
Robbie? Yeah. Hey, Robbie. Robbie, you getting this slice? Yeah. Robbie.
I just love the fact he was your source. That is fantastic.
He was my guy. Yeah. He was the guy we would get our info. Because I worked for the league at the time.
Listen, either one of these stories, we only have about 3 minutes left in the segment, and you got to plug your stuff. But either one of these stories, baseball took over Arizona's broadcasts yesterday. The Braves spinning off from Liberty Media. Some people think it's going to lead to a sale. Either one of these stories interest you?
Both. The Arizona story, they took them to court to try to get out of their deal, and they won. Baseball is like, don't worry, we'll broadcast the games. That's not really the worry. The worry is they're paying 80% of the revenue. Remember, we talked about how is this going to go on? That's what they're doing for the Padres. The Padres are making 80% of the revenue that they would have made from Bally's. That's not sustainable. You can't keep that up in multiple years. So that's a powder keg waiting to go off. The thing with the Braves, the rumor is the sale, they're going to allow fans to buy shares, kind of like the Packers. That fascinates me. I love the idea of fans getting a piece of the team. I think that's kind of neat.
All right. Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice. What do you got, Seth?
Sports with Friends. Sam Pollard, the acclaimed film director, documentary film director, multiple Academy Awards. He's also a film editor, edited all of Spike Lee's movies. He and Questlove have a new documentary out called The League. It's on the history of the Negro Leagues. It is amazing. I've seen it. It's great. Sam Pollard is a really cool guest. He edited two of Spike Lee's movies, Jungle Fever and Girl 6, featuring two of the all-time greatest soundtracks I've ever heard in my life. So the podcast gets derailed about 3/4 of the way through. Turns into a big Stevie Wonder Prince conversation. But Sam Pollard on the history of the Negro Leagues. It's kind of neat how they made a documentary that really flows with very limited footage and interviews. It's really awesome. Hank Aaron's in it a lot. They got Hank Aaron before he died, and that's really incredible. That's really good.
Hall of Justice.
Oh, Lauren Lester. Lauren Lester played Robin in Batman the Animated Series and Nightwing later on, because Robin grows up, becomes Nightwing. Lauren Lester lives in New York City, has been a good friend over the years. I saw him at a Comic-Con recently, and we sat down and talked about all kinds of things. Lauren Lester played Robin. Lauren Lester on Hall of Justice.
5 seconds. Twitch chat room asked, are you going to go see Messi when they come to your neck of the woods to play the Red Bulls in a month? Yes or no?
No, but I will watch Arsenal play MLS All-Stars tonight.
He's Seth Everett, Sports with Friends Hall of Justice. Follow him on Twitter at Seth_Everett. Seth, thanks for doing this as always. All the best. Safe travels.
See ya.
Miller and Moulton. The syndicated portion of our show is ending, so Tampa, St. Pete, Lake City, Port Charlotte, and Venice, we thank you for listening. We'll do it all over again tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. For those of you in the 239, what we call the bonus hour comes up next right here. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
RCB, are you still in the Twitch chat room? RCB, are you still there? Because I got the answer to your question. Sorry, we didn't ask it on the air.
Yeah, he's still on the air.
All right. So for the rest of you, RCB's question was, new offensive coordinator in Tampa, how will he fit with Baker? Pat said Dave Canales was trained by Pete Carroll. He'll stick with the run and win with a short quarterback like Baker. No team, when Canales was in Seattle, worked on escape lanes for their quarterback more than Seattle when they had Russell Wilson. So he thinks Canales is a good fit for Baker Mayfield. So there you go.
I have a text to get to when we come back, unless you have sports to talk about.
Not really.
Good. Watched the third quarterback yesterday. A lot more quarterbacks, a lot less wives.
Good.
Although I will say the one thing that it is from the wife standpoint, they show them getting ripped and just getting hit hard, and then immediately go to the wife. Not like, like they've got her filmed up live. So while Mahomes is getting drilled, they immediately go to a cutaway of her when he's getting drilled. Okay, that's fine. That's about as much of the wives they showed in episode 3. That's when Kirk Cousins really gets the crap kicked out of him.
I was just reading about the Jake Tapper DeSantis interview yesterday.
How'd that go?
Well, apparently, it was just a fairly solid interview that we used to have back in the day, where Tapper was not confrontational, but he asked basically the questions that you have to ask, and he let DeSantis, answer them. Pressed him a few times, but didn't get into, sparring with him.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
The bonus hour, Miller and Moulton on this hump day. Thanks so much for being with us. We are off on Friday, so we'll have plenty of time to watch some morning Open Championship. Even though from 1:30 to 4 in the morning on the East Coast, it'll be on Peacock. Since Seth, and we had Seth Everett on in our last segment if you weren't with us, and Seth used the word caca. Hops in our Twitch chat room was wondering if I could come up with a sentence where I could say both caca and peacock in the same sentence.
Sounds like you just did.
At least in a question. So, Hops, there you go. I think it is caca that you have to watch peacock for your early round open coverage.
Well, we have a poll question today, David, and it's offended some people.
What?
Yep.
Well, read the question.
The poll question is, it's National Hot Dog Day. Do you ruin a hot dog by putting ketchup on it? Right now, the vote is split 50-50.
Seriously?
Oh, yeah.
OMG. That many people are putting ketchup on hot dogs?
Yep.
Oh.
And so I got this text. This whole hot dog ketchup insult is a perfect example of do-gooder Northern Yankees thinking how they know what's best for everyone. To which I responded, who is this do-gooder you're talking about?
and I don't understand. My mother spent her whole life in New Jersey. She loves ketchup on the hot dogs. All right. It just,
And he responded to that with the experts in Chicago, New York, and Michigan who know everything about hot dogs.
Oh, no, we just don't like ketchup on our hot dogs. I love ketchup on my fries.
I like ketchup on a hamburger. I'm not anti-ketchup.
Not at all. Just we're anti-ketchup on a hot dog.
That's all. And I'm a little offended you called me a do-gooder.
I didn't realize ketchup on a hot dog was a Southern thing also. I don't understand. Wait, ketchup on a hot dog is a Southern thing? So the Northerners only put mustard on their hot dogs? The Southerners put ketchup? I've never heard that before. Trust me.
What's Vern put on his hot dogs?
I'll ask him. He'll love getting this text. I think he's in Austin, so it's 8 a.m. I don't think he's in Steamboat this time of year. Okay.
He might be. But regardless, I'm curious what what Vern thinks, because he is, you told him that his book should have been Hot Dogs at Halftime.
Right.
Which is a great name.
He had 2 hot dogs at halftime every game. I don't know how hot dogs at halftime. Tell me that's not catchy.
It's a great name. I just don't know what he put on his hot dogs.
I think he went was I don't think it was ketchup. I thought it was mustard. I'll ask him.
So 21,000 is the text line. It has been taken over by condiments. Throughout the show, people have been texting what they put on their hot dogs. That's why I'm not that surprised at what the vote is, because there are a lot of people that put a lot of condiments, and ketchup being one of them, on hot dogs. I'm sorry.
I don't also listen. If you're into ketchup, fine. Okay, we disagree. I don't like when ketchup and mustard are both on a hamburger.
Really?
Yes, I don't. I prefer ketchup. I'm not a huge mustard on my Burger King's is big, I think, on mustard. Okay, McDonald's tries to throw a little bit of it in. I'm no. Ketchup is for hamburgers. Mustard is for hot dogs.
You don't put mustard on your hamburger.
No, no.
See, my wife doesn't. My wife puts mustard on a hot dog. She goes ketchup and mayo on a hamburger. I go ketchup and mustard on a hamburger.
No. Ketchup goes on a hamburger. Mustard goes on a hot dog.
Interesting.
So that's why. And I'm sure this person who hates me as well as you, because we're quote unquote Northerners, even though I've never lived any place more in my life than Florida, but okay.
But I don't remember, and I lived in the South. I've lived in Tennessee. I've lived in Georgia. I've lived in North Carolina. I don't remember. In fact, the only place I remember getting dogs, it's the Varsity, and that's mustard, chili, and onions.
Right. And I'm fine if we go there, just as long as we keep the ketchup and the mustard separate. I draw the line. I don't think they go together. To me, it's like cats and dogs. I know there are videos out there of, the cats and, swatting the dog, and the dog takes it and what have you. But I don't, like in our house, Mark, listen, when we had a cat and a dog, we had to keep them separate. They could not coexist.
Well, David, I'm going to take a little offense to this, because it's always been said ketchup and mustard. I mean, they are a pair like salt and pepper.
Not to me. Never were a pair. I never bought into that. They were not Hall and Oates to me. No. They were separate. Okay, they could each be solo artists.
Well, certainly not Hall and Oates.
Well, I understand that.
Oates
right.
Needed Hall. Hall didn't need Oates. He's got that, did that whole VH1 thing for a while.
Right. Sonny and Cher. They could each do a solo thing. Sonny, not as successfully, but that's okay. He won a seat in Congress, so he made up for it.
Right, and he did a lot of Love Boat appearances, too, so he could still get on the occasional variety-type show.
Exactly. Right. He could do the acting thing, and then he did the Congress thing. Okay, so, he still had a career. So I look at ketchup and mustard kind of like Sonny and Cher.
21,000 is the text line. Condiments, offensive line play, and a trade deadline, all things that have been discussed today on the show. Pat Kirwan was with us in the 8 o'clock hour. We talked a little Dolphins. He's worried about that offensive line, thinking they have to run the ball a hell of a lot more to keep Tua upright. That was when we asked about Tyreek Hill getting 2,000 yards. His only reason that he's against it is that he thinks that McDaniel and company have to run it more to keep Tua healthy. So, yes, we did talk a little sports on the show, and then we got our condiments in as well.
Yeah, we talked a lot of sports, actually. A lot. But, it is National Hot Dog Day. Come on now. It deserves as much time as when it was National French Fry Day, right?
And the fact that this vote is dead even would have bothered me in years past.
I'm distraught.
Thought Republicans and Democrats were a problem. Apparently, ketchup on a hot dog's a national problem. And we're divided.
Well, and apparently, 50-50. So it is very much like Democrats and Republicans.
And we're getting some hate mail on it.
Right. And we
We're being-
suck. Right. Even though we're the media, we're just asking. I think it's how we phrase the question.
No, it's definitely how we phrase the question.
Well, we weren't going to be, no offense, we weren't going to be wimpy about it. We were going to state our view. We're anti-ketchup on a hot dog. I would think you would appreciate the fact that we take a stand, even if you don't agree with it.
Exactly. 50% of you have not agreed with what we're saying. We've not limited you from voting.
No.
We didn't close the polls early when I had a big lead.
We're not trying to take your citizenship away or anything.
We're just trying to take away your ability to eat a hot dog in public. That's all.
Right. I mean, we would like to give you stern talking too, but otherwise we're pretty decent people.
I mean, it's caused conflict between David and his mother during the show because she puts ketchup on hot dogs. So this is not just, us and the listener. This has brought families. It pushed families further apart. And David's going to see his mother later this week and going to have to take the wrath of her for me giving his mom a hard time on the show.
I literally just sent a text to Vern Lundquist. Okay. So our audience wants to know, did you put ketchup on those 2 hot dogs at halftime? Besides that, hope you and Nancy are well. He might be done with me after this.
Blame me. I wanted to know more than anyone else.
And he genuinely has always been really good to me. Okay. He could be like, all right, you got to cross him off the list.
It's another one to delete contact right away.
Exactly.
Block contact on that one.
Yep.
Might have to get a hot dog right after the show.
There's no doubt. I'm going to have 6 of them today. 6 of them. And I'm just going to load them up too. All right. I may have like 3, 2 be one way, 2 be one way, 2 be another way. Honestly, I may go nuts today.
Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network. Thanks so much for listening. As I mentioned, Pat Kirwan, Seth Everett, both on the show. If you missed any of the show, you can download it, floridasportsnetwork.com, millerandmoulton.com, and you can always watch the show at twitch.tv/millerandmoulton.
My lawyer buddy in Jersey's going, you guys haven't mentioned sauerkraut at all. Okay. Never, you've mentioned chili, you've mentioned onions. You guys haven't mentioned sauerkraut at all. Okay. Didn't realize there was a movement for it, but okay.
I prefer sauerkraut on a brat over a hot dog, if you want to know the truth.
For the record, for those that are anti-Miller and Moulton because of our stance on ketchup on hot dogs, Mark laid down the gauntlet with his 9-year-old daughter, in which and who eats ketchup on a hot dog because she's 9, and he's giving her until she turns 13. That kids can put ketchup on anything, but once they become a teenager, they're no longer a kid, so to speak. So therefore, she can no longer put ketchup on a hot dog when she turns 13. So she's got a little less than 4 years. All right. But she had a brat the other day, and he, in no uncertain terms, said, oh, no, 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 not allowed. Effective immediately. What was it? Mustard and onions?
Mustard and onions.
Right. That's it. So, we're pretty strict about this. We'll even do it to family. Mark risking the wrath he could get from his wife when the wife gets home and the daughter goes, Mom, Dad wouldn't let me put ketchup on my. And of course, wife's from Pittsburgh, so ketchup is the greatest condiment ever invented.
Ever invented. In fact, only one kind of ketchup is allowed in our house. Anything else would be sacrilege. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening. Florida Sports Network.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Did you see Cam Smith say that he actually got emotional having to return the claret jug?
Yes. Yes. You know, and then I get somebody from Cincinnati text me that ketchup's the only good condiment. You put spaghetti on chili. I can't take anything you say seriously. Oh, my God. Get Up is literally have a question on the screen right now that says Bill Belichick is on the hot season this season.
Actually, it was being reported yesterday. I forget which media outlet. I think it was the Tom Kirwan guy from NBC Boston.
Gotcha.
Who was like, I know you're not going to believe this, but Kraft expects to go to the playoffs this year.
Kraft's high. How many teams right now do the Patriots have a better roster than in the AFC? Maybe we should do this on air.
Okay.
Yeah. So we were talking about something because I've got a real estate thing that's coming up. I'm getting a listing, and I know the lady. I said, well, Mom, I said, because my mom was over last night. I said, Mom, I don't think she's as old as you, because she was just asking. My mother looked up and she goes, there aren't that many people as old as me.
Not true, Mom. You live in Southwest Florida.
I know, but it was a pretty good line.
It is.
It's a pretty good line for a 79-year-old.
Mom, you're much closer to the middle of the pack than you think.
Adam Schefter's reporting that the Cowboys center is not reporting to training camp, wants a new contract.
I will say they drafted a kid, I don't know if it was this year or last year, who I think they're plugging at guard, but I thought he played center in college.
It's the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. We're off on Friday. Kevin Weiss will join us tomorrow as we preview the big 4-game series between the Rays and the Orioles. He will join us on the show. Also hoping to get a soccer guest on, because we got Messi's MLS debut Friday, but the Women's World Cup gets underway tomorrow. U.S. in action on Friday night on Fox. They're going to win like 8-0. I think they're playing Vietnam.
8-0?
Yeah, they're going to
more.
Okay.
Honestly, they may score 15 goals in this game. Vietnam's never appeared in the Women's World Cup. They're one of several new nations. This is going to be a slaughter. And I have no problem the Messi thing, and I get it, but there's no story in the Women's World Cup. It's do we win or don't we win?
Right, but this is a changing of the guard transition World Cup for the U.S. The last time was, Lloyd, Rapinoe, and the last run for the old guard. Now, Rapinoe, I think, is coming off the bench. I think now she's like a second-half substitute if we need a goal. I believe maybe she is starting, but I thought she was, like a second-half substitution. A lot of the old guard has moved on. And so also following it up very quickly with an Olympics, these are the two biggest things in women's soccer. Also, we changed new coach. So, there's no guarantee that we're going to win. Remember, we had that stretch like 6 months ago. We lost 2 or 3 international matches in a row. People were like, what the? We are the betting favorite. The World Cup in Australia and New Zealand, by the way, on Fox, FS1, etc., if you're interested.
Time should be really interesting to see this with where it's being played.
So you were disgusted during our commercial break.
Yeah, I have the 4-letter network on, and they're running their show, and they said there was a question on the screen for the panelists that said, is Bill Belichick on the hot seat? And I just started laughing.
Now, the reason that they went with that is because yesterday, I believe it was NBC Sports Boston, I think it was Tom Curran, if I'm wrong, I apologize, who was saying, I know you guys aren't going to believe this, but Kraft's actually getting a little impatient. Haven't won a playoff game since Brady left. Well, this is year 4 of him being gone. They were one and done his final year here. So if they don't win a playoff game this year, it'll be 5 full seasons without them winning a playoff game. Think about since Kraft bought the team in the early to mid 90s, what how the Patriots' level of success has been.
Can I just ask you I think Kraft's crazy thinking that. Absolutely crazy right now. Now, the GM Belichick is not helping out the coach Belichick because it sounds like apparently they were prepared to offer D-Hop the same amount of money that the Titans were. You don't up it by $1 million to get him? Are you kidding me? Your comment to D-Hop when he's going to sign is, we'll match it? Are you surprised he took another team?
No. Also, living and working in Nashville versus living and working in Boston. For a wide receiver, remember, weather and playing surface may mean a lot to you when you're 31 years old.
But how many rosters in the AFC right now are the Patriots better than?
Better?
Better than.
Well,
are they better than anybody in their division?
No.
Are they better than any roster in the AFC North?
No.
Who are they better than in the AFC West?
The Raiders. And I know they lost to the Raiders last year on that crazy play, but I have no idea what McDaniels and company are doing to the Raiders roster. I really don't. I think I would take the Patriots. They're going to play this year, by the way, in Vegas in mid-October. It'll be close to a pick 'em. They might be a slight dog.
Are they better than the Titans? Roster-wise?
Roster-wise, it's close.
But I don't know if they're better.
You have to say they're better than the Colts and the Texans.
So that's 3.
And if we give them the benefit of the doubt with Titans, which I wouldn't, I'd say it's kind of a push. And then Raiders. So we're grading
3 and the Titans are a push.
Right. We're grading them as no better than the 11th best roster in the AFC then. Actually 12th. My bad. 16 teams. No better than the 12th best roster in the AFC is how we're grading them. Well, let me just ask you this. Right now, and obviously, things can change. Teams get good. The Eagles were coming off a 9-8 season a year ago. Now, they had a terrific offseason, but, did we think they were going to have the best record in the NFL?
No, but we thought their roster was better than the 11th or 12th best heading into last season. I mean, you and I both picked them to win the division. So
we did. But name me the game that you think the Patriots will be favored in. They open with the Eagles at home.
No.
Sunday night, they play the Dolphins at home. I think they'll be a slight dog. I think they could be as low as 2. It could be in the 3.5, 4-point range. But I think the Patriots will not be favored in that game unless they upset the Eagles. Then they're at the Jets. They're at the Cowboys. They're home for the Saints.
They'll be favored in that game.
They're at the Raiders. It'll be close.
Close.
Home for the Bills. At the Dolphins. Home for the Commanders.
Favored.
The Colts in Germany.
Favored.
Okay. So we've got 3 that we think that for sure they're favored in. We got 2 others in which we go, it'll be less than a field goal. Got a chance to be favored. Okay. At the Giants. Home for the Chargers. At the Steelers. Home for the Chiefs. At the Broncos. At the Bills. Home for the Jets.
Maybe at the Giants. Maybe, but I doubt it.
So we've got them favored 3 times with a chance at 5 or 6 right now. If we give them all the benefits of the doubt, they'll be an underdog in 11 of the 17 games they play. I mean, I will throw this out there. What's Belichick? Is it 30 wins?
Exactly 30.
30 wins behind Shula. Okay. He wants the record. I mean, come on. We all know that. Especially since Shula was very critical of Belichick when he was alive and everything that went on in New England. What if they go 6-11 this year? And what if Kraft says to him, Bill, I love you. I don't think I can hire a better coach, but I know I can hire a better GM. I got to take it away from you. I'll let you have a lot of input. We can even work together as to who it is, the guy you think you can work well with. But, you know, in which Kraft says to Belichick what John Mara had to have a realization with himself with the Giants. They had done nothing but hire from within the family. And finally, they lost enough where he hired somebody from outside the organization. And I ain't doing it. No way. If you take that away from me, you know, you might as well fire me.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Belichick acted that way.
I don't think any of us would. Remember, he's had it since he took the job over. So in that sense, I actually think it's not completely out of the question that this is a make or break year in New England.
And I'll take the under on the 8.5 wins right now. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening. Florida Sports Network.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So Kensington, what is it that no one cares about? Because I saw your comment earlier was about how you do your hot dog. So was it about that? Was it me selling the Rays Orioles series? Was it the Patriots? I'm just curious, what is it that you were commenting about? Besides that, thanks for listening, watching.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes until the top of the hour, 16 until we're out of here. Mark, I know you've got Today Was the Day When coming up. Got a text from a buddy of mine who said, I would like to apologize in advance now because he's a long-suffering Redskins / Commanders fan. And I believe Daniel Snyder's reign as owner ends tomorrow.
Right.
Which happens to be his first day of vacation. And so he said, so I know this is something in future years you guys are going to refer to on Today Was the Day When, Snyder's reign as owner. He goes, I want to apologize for my celebratory drunken texts now. When I informed him 10 a.m., he goes, oh, yeah, I'm starting first thing tomorrow.
Good for him.
He's got the day off and everything. Starting his vacation a day early, he said.
I will say, I don't think people nationally, this story's been a national story. We've found out more about Snyder and the Washington Commanders than we ever had intended to in this or any other lifetime. But I don't think people get it from the inside just how damn happy an entire fan base is. This is like getting a brand new franchise. They think they're getting their team back.
They are. They're waiting for Gibbs and Riggins and company to show up and say, okay, we can still win.
Maybe not this year.
Well, don't you have to think that barring a really good season, that this is Ron Rivera's last year as head coach?
Yes.
And with that in mind, you have to applaud the fact he made the decision late last year. We're going to go the Sam Howell route. Then early in the offseason, it's like, holy blank, Snyder's actually going to sell. I'm going to have a new owner. And Rivera didn't change course. He didn't go spend money on a Garoppolo or make the trade for Carr. He said, nope, we made a decision. We have a plan. Okay. We're going to give this kid a year. We'll know after the year whether he's the guy or not. Blah, blah, blah. Even though it's like, if he's not, we're not going to win. I'm going to get fired. I'm almost 60. I've had cancer twice. I don't know how many people are going to hire me.
But this is a day of tomorrow will be a day of celebration in the DC area.
Tim, who's a Bucks fan, says this will be like when Hugh Culverhouse sold the Bucks back in the day.
I think bigger, because this is the Washington Commanders. This is a franchise that was an elite NFL franchise. Hence the $6 billion it's going for.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
1884 is where we start. It was the 7th Wimbledon, but the first female championships. They started with the men, they added the doubles and the women in 1884, and Maud Watson took down her sister Lillian in 3 sets. She lost the first one 8-6 and then would win 6-3, 6-3 to be the first ever women's champion.
Maud
beat Lillian. Must have been tough at the dinner table that night. Cy Young wins his 500th game today in 1910.
And he wasn't done yet.
You have to wonder if baseball fans seen Cy Young. Oh, sure, there'll be another one that'll do this.
Well, not only that, isn't it like 100 more than the next guy? Isn't Christy Mathewson, I think, I forget, maybe it's Walter Johnson. Isn't they like 409 and Cy Young's like 511?
511, I know, is the right number. But yeah,
I think second place is like 406, 409, something like that. I'll look it up.
Today in 1920, Babe Ruth hits his 30th home run, breaking his own single-season record. He would end up with 54 in the season. Then he would break that the next year. Today in 1936, Bob Feller at 17 makes his major league debut with the Indians in a 9-5 loss coming in relief against the Washington Senators.
Walter Johnson, 417, by the way. So 94 behind Cy Young. Hey, Walter, you're going pretty well, but need 4 more years. Big years.
Good years. Tom and Jerry first appear today in the Midnight Snack in 1941. Today in 1950, the Yankees signed their first black players, Elston Howard and Frank Baines. 1954, Elvis's debuted single, That's All Right, is released. 1964, Bobby Nichols wins the PGA. Winning by 3 strokes over both Nicklaus and Palmer. He would lead wire to wire. Today in 1976, based on Greg Allman's testimony, Allman Brothers roadie Scooter Raring gets sentenced for 75 years in jail for providing drugs to the group.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is. Especially since most of the rest of the band walked.
87, Feldo wins his first major, winning the British Open, beating your buddy Azinger by 1.
18 pars. He was 1 back when the day began. He played in the second to last group. Azinger was in the final group. Azinger had a 1-shot lead at the beginning of the day, had a 1-shot lead with 2 to play. Finished bogey, bogey.
Today in 89, the NFL owners vote unanimously to form the World League of American Football. It would last from 91 to 07. Nick Feldo wins his 3rd Open today in 92. The Summer Games in Atlanta open today in 96. Stuart Sink wins his British in the playoff with Watson in 2009. Stuart Scott would have celebrated a birthday today. He would have been 58. Eli Nastasi is 77. Brian May from Queen is 76. Actor Anthony Edwards is 61. Vitaly Klitschko is 52. And Adam Morrison is 39. Wonder if that mustache looks good yet.
No, I don't think it's grown in.
That's my bet too, David. It still looks pathetic. What did I miss?
Nothing.
Wow.
Honestly,
Good day for me.
It's a bad day in American history today.
It really is.
I mean, I was going to bring up in the 1770s, we were trying to claim this Penobscot territory, which turned into Maine from the British. We suffered it was actually our biggest naval defeat until Pearl Harbor. But, nah.
Penobscot, he was married to Major Houlihan.
Exactly. That's the only reason I was going to bring it up is just the name Penobscot.
It's a MASH reference for you, Felipe. Just another one that just goes flying right over your head. Your grandparents loved it. Maybe your parents.
No, I know MASH.
Wow.
Did you know who Houlihan was married to, though?
No.
Okay.
That's out of my...
And Penobscot can almost be worked into the Open of Laverne and Shirley. Almost.
Okay, stop. You're losing me.
I mean,
you heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
I mean, outside of David Sampson, who was living and growing up in Wisconsin at the time that Laverne and Shirley, first appeared. I mean, we were all sitting around the rest of the country going, what is it that they're hop, skipping, and jumping and saying? Shamil, Shamagle? Okay, and you could have said, did they go Penobscot and Incorporated? What the hell were they talking about?
I'm with you. We go to Montana for the good, where a mother and her 2 sons pulled an elderly neighbor from his burning home early Monday morning. The one son's back home from the Navy. The other son is about to leave for basic training for the Navy, and the 2 of them decided they were going to outlast each other and see who could stay up later, the 18 and the 20-year-old. When at 4:03 in the morning, they smelled smoke. It was the neighbor's house across the street, and the 2 boys and mom rescued the elderly lady. That's a good. For the bad, we go to the tacos, and I'm very disappointed. It's a follow-up, David, but it's a follow-up bad. Because Taco John's, the regional chain that had claimed Taco Tuesday and trademarked it in 49 of the 50 states,
right,
has dropped its legal fight with Taco Bell
Why?
Because it doesn't want to pay the legal fees that come with the fight against Taco Bell. So they are giving up Taco Tuesday to the rest of the world.
They should have gone to the internet, given a GoFundMe or something. I'll bet people would have funded them fighting the man.
I'm with you. As a result of the trademark being abandoned, the CEO of Taco John said it's donating $40,000, $100 per its 400 locations to Children of Restaurant Employees, a nonprofit that supports restaurant workers with children by providing financial relief when either the employee, spouse, or child faces a life-altering health crisis. Finally, the ugly, we go to Iowa. And not because of the Hawkeyes offense. Season hasn't even started yet, and I'm taking shots at them. And they're going to be pretty good. But because Alex Oling was arrested last Friday night trying to rob and steal corn. He was arrested while trying to hook up a gravity wagon full of corn to his 2010 Silverado pickup. He also had stolen some Department of Transportation magnets and put them on the pickup to make him look official. The wagon was valued at $15,000, the corn at $3,750. It's a lot of corn. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, July the 19th, 2023.
Well, the Open doesn't start till tomorrow. The Women's World Cup doesn't start till tomorrow. So we got baseball today and tonight. Wednesday is a getaway day. There's 6 afternoon games, including both the Rays and the Marlins. Rays trying to get a win in Texas. By the way, they're only 2 games ahead of the Rangers for the 1 seed. So they're a game ahead of the Orioles in the East. Texas only 2 back, 1 in the loss column. Oh, by the way. And the Rays are starting an opener today. So this is not the best pitching matchup for the Rays to try to salvage 1 game in the 3-game series. Meanwhile, the Marlins trying to salvage a game. Rays game starts at 2. Marlins at 2:15. And how long have we been saying this? But now would be a really good time. He's been pitching better. His ERA is down to 4.64, even though his record's only 3-8. But Sandy Alcantara, or Alcantara, however the hell they pronounce his name. Everybody pronounces it Alcantara. Every time I say that, Felipe yells at me.
Well, I don't get why they do that.
Well, I'm just telling you, everybody, MLB announcers, Marlins announcers, everybody pronounces it as Alcantara, even though it does not spell that way. I'm going with Alcantara. Besides,
the spelling.
We called him Alcantara last year, and he won the damn Cy Young. I'm going Xander Schauffele here. Not Schauffele, Morikawa. When I called it the British Open, I won it. When I called it the Open Championship, I missed the cut. I'm calling it the British Open. It's Sandy Alcantara. Time to pitch like an ace. Getaway day in St. Louis against Dakota Hudson, who's thrown 10 innings all year. Come on, Sandy. Show up.
Don't you just bet the whole AL East today?
Since they all lost yesterday?
Yeah.
Yankees trying to avoid a sweep. The Red Sox trying to win the series in Oakland. Same with Toronto at home with San Diego. That's not bad thinking, Mark. I don't know if I'd bet the Rays, though. It's not a good pitching matchup. Also, don't like the fact they're going to have to he's not going to want to use the best part of his bullpen today unless he absolutely has to. He's going into a 4-game series with the Orioles. I mean, he's going to try to use the middle of his bullpen today to get through this game.
Well, it'd be nice if the bats could come alive for a game in this series because they've not hit the ball worth a darn. How about maybe scoring 6-7 runs for your pitching staff today? So that's the other side of that. But, and Darvish is going for the Padres against the Jays, too. So, I'm with you. Just a hunch.
Rodon for the Yankees, his second start of the year. But they need hitting, too. They had 2 hits yesterday. So
Miller and Moulton. We'll do it all over again tomorrow. When we come back on the air, they'll be playing golf across the pond. Thanks for listening to the Florida Sports Network.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around the